have dreams beyond their expectations, because that's what Daytona brings. It brings this opportunity. It brings a reset, a redo, and it's really just a great chance for these guys that if they had a bad night, maybe they can turn that back around tonight and make it something positive. And if they had a really good night last night, maybe they have the confidence that they can come back and follow that up. I know our fearless leader, Gary, is a wrestling fan, and you can't get more sports entertainment than racing at Daytona or Talladega. And so the script is there: go fast, turn left, but only those up above know what the end results is going to be.
That's for doggone sure. And Sam, the Xfinity series, or the Grand National Series, I always want to call it in Xfinity. At least I didn't call it Bush, right? The Xfinity, but the Grand National Series here is a rather young series. The Truck Series is the Premier League for the AMA, and it is also the oldest series. So this is the 47th race for the AMA Truck Series. There have been 3 of these Daytona 250s, the 6th race total here at the Daytona International Speedway for the series. We are going to go 100 laps around the 2.5 miles, so 250 miles total. The stage breaks are going to be at 20 and 40 laps. We'll have one full fuel run with hopefully a green flag pit stop to the end, and there are 4 sets of tires. Kendall Paul was the winner of this event last year. The fast qualifying lap set by Stephen Kirby, 52.212. Charles Hosey has the fastest race lap, 47.317. And if you thought the Grand National cars drafted and the draft mattered there, it matters a lot more in these trucks, Sam.
There's no question the draft is going to come into play. The closing rates are much faster in the trucks, even though the trucks do not turn as much horsepower or speed. The closing rates are incredible, and they can come into play if people are not paying close attention. The drivers are not paying close attention to where they're at in the track, where the pace that the truck has in front of them, and the opportunities that they have to overtake, whether it be at the top. It's not unusual, these races in trucks, for drivers to feel froggy and want to force 3 wide. They're a little bit more stable at a little bit slower speed until they get into the corners, and it can be interesting. There's no question, it can be interesting. They can be a handful.
Yeah, and my experience here, having raced in this series last year, I was beat to the championship by Kendall Paul, but I can tell you without reservation, there's some very good drafting cars in this race. Of course, names like Kendall Paul return from last night. So do Nolan Milnes. He was up front. Sean Mott is back. So
Colby Pierce is back.
Yeah, Colby Pierce is back. He ran second. But there are some new names.
He did.
There's some new names here. Andy Dunwoody, David Dunwoody. You're going to see him in the number 28. Dunwoody, the head of Black Magic Designs, Black Magic Studios. He's on the track tonight, back from his big bowling excursion. He is probably one of the best, if not the best, plate racer in the field. We've got some new names. Winfield Dobrik is with us. Chad Winstead. He is here to participate in the Truck Series. We did not see Chad last night. Brian Sharp, he's looking for another shot at the coconut. He was unceremoniously crashed out in a mess not of his own doing. So, guys like Brian Sharp, Ted Craven, Pat O'Brien, they're looking to atone for kind of a rough night last night. It's going to be interesting.
Absolutely. Yes, there's no question. That's exactly right.
It's going to be interesting, too. We have a full field. 34 trucks are signed in for this one from...
what a stellar show out for this race. It is exciting to know that the attendance, we know it's Valentine's Day, but now we're seeing where 34 guys, where their love really lies right now for the next couple of hours. It lies within the truck confines of iRacing here at Daytona International Speedway.
And to kind of kick this off, we have another guy at the top of the leaderboard, Paul Witt. Paul was not here last night. That is a fast man in that 29. But he and Jeffrey Goodpaster, just to let you know how close this field is out there, race fans, Paul Witt and Jeffrey Goodpaster, they have identical lap times, 46.174 at the top of the leaderboard. You couldn't do that again if you tried.
Exactly.
Liam Anderson, that's another veteran of this series. but Liam did not race last night either. So it's a little bit of the same group, probably 15, 20 guys are the same. And you're going to see 15 cars or 15 trucks that are different. And so that's kind of what makes this AMA series great. You've got a core group that'll do all of the series, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. But then there are drivers that show just only for the trucks. And those guys can be bad fast. And so, we're really looking forward to that. We do have about 3 minutes left in qualifying, in practice. And we will kind of give you a preview here of coming attractions. Let me get Van Halen out of here. Gary and his Van Halen obsession. Gotta love it.
Oh my heaven.
But we'll get out here. Let's get to Jeffrey Goodpace. Let's see if we can't find.
You want to pull somebody up to the booth?
No, let's see if we can't find a pack. There's 3 trucks running.
You were going through the drivers attending. I probably need to do just a little bit more research, but I was just noticing the international flavor. I don't know how many Canadians that we may have, but the international flavor in some of the names that are out there, like Gregorio Dorso and Joao Guerrera, and I mean, it just seems like there's an international flavor in the field as well tonight.
There is. And Kendall Paul, the series director, Kendall does a great job of running recruitment races. We're watching the 25, the 28, and the 07 right now. But Kendall Paul does a tremendous job of recruiting this out. They have several recruitment races in the off season. Give guys a chance to win a little bit of money and have a little bit of fun, and kind of evaluate new drivers. This is an application-only series, and so Sam, you've got to pass a little bit of a vetting process and embrace these guys a little bit. It also is iRating capped, and so they, for this series, I believe 3,500 is the limit. The highest iRating in the field, Gregorio Dorso, 3,398. He's on the upper edge of that. Guys that are not here from last night, Greg Evans is not here. That would have been a favorite. Kyle Heath. I do not see Kyle Heath on my.
He is not in the field either.
On my leaderboard, and that would have been one of the favorites here tonight. So Kyle Heath not in the field, but there are.
You might be able to help me a little bit too, Mark, in just getting me up to date. You mentioned Andy Dunwoody, and of course his impressive resume. Is Jeremy related to him?
That would be his brother.
I see. Okay.
That would be his brother, and so those two, the two Dunwoodies, are likely in rigs back to back to each other. Andy, often remarks, he keeps Jeremy close enough while they race to turn around and whack him upside the head. But in reality, they're brothers. They're great friends, and it's good to see them both in the field. Jeremy is a fine racer in his own right, although Andy tends to be a little bit faster. Although Jeremy is a fine plate racer.
Not on the speed chart right now.
Well, I was going to say Jeremy is a fine plate racer in his own right. When we get to some of the more technical tracks, Jeremy can be at a little bit of a deficit, but he doesn't.
There's nothing wrong with the little sibling rivalry. There's nothing wrong with that at all.
Jeremy doesn't do this as much, and so that's kind of what happens. That's kind of what happens there. We are going to get into qualifying now. I'm going to put up the leaderboard, and we're going to watch them. We're going to watch them fly. We'll bring you some of the qualification laps. Nolan Milnes is going to be the first on the Speedway, and we will get him up, and we're going to kind of show you the driver input. This is one of my favorite toys. That Gary has given us. We have telemetry for the P1 Broadcasting Network, and so you'll get to kind of see Nolan Milnes bring his number 11, the plain white wrapper. It's the Hesketh look out of Nolan this evening. But we're gonna look at Nolan and just kind of give you a sense of what qualifying here at Daytona Talladega is like. And there are different ways to do this, are there not, Sam?
Of course, qualifying at plate tracks, there's a lot of guys that approach it in a different manner, but you'll find that the majority will be The same. Again, second lap is king here at Daytona. Just simply because you want to get all that momentum worked up. Um, the first lap, especially in the trucks, a lot of guys will want to run the top line, which you see Nolan's doing right now, and just so that they can generate as much speed as they can for that second lap. And then it's absolutely just hug the yellow line and keep a straight, absolutely straight wheel.
You know,
Any input to the wheel can shave speed.
and I would kind of equate that, as an open wheel guy to Indianapolis, where we focus a lot in practice for the iRacing Indy 500, the Open Wheels 500, the Hoosier 500 now. We focus a ton, the Indy Elite 500. We focus a ton on not moving our hands. I would assume that, Sam, it's very similar with this.
Oh, no question. Especially with qualifying. Now, much like the Xfinity cars we saw last night, there is quite a bit of movement, but maybe not as severe in the corners. The truck does get extremely light in the tri-oval. However, when you're qualifying with these trucks, any steering wheel input can affect your speed and your ability to be able to hug that yellow line. Make sure that you hit your preload on entry and stay tight on exit. Those are all very important things, and to keep your hands as still as possible.
Now,
Less input is better.
absolutely. Now Nolan, he's a little bit off that white line, and it's kind of hard. We're going to go back on the roll bar. It's kind of hard to tell from inside the cockpit exactly where you are in relation to that yellow line. You'll watch it on TV and think, man, I had a half a car down there, but you go and watch it in the car, and you really didn't. There's Nolan Milnes going below the apron there. He turns in.
It worked for him too.
Yeah, he turns in lap 51, 227, vaults him straight to
to the top.
Yeah, straight to the pole. 174.2305 for Nolan Milnes. Let's see what else we can. Let's see what else we can see here. Let's get old Pat O'Brien up on the.
You're exactly right. From the cockpit of the truck or the car, or whatever you're driving here at Daytona, whenever there's a lot of drivers that will find a marker or a point on the hood of the car to give them an indication of how close they are. If they run enough laps and practice enough here, they can get a good distinction based on where the yellow line is in relation to the nose of their vehicle, so that they can get as close as possible. There might be a slight taper on the hood itself, and that taper, they may line that taper up with the yellow line, and that gives them the indication of how close they really are.
Yeah, I'd like to use the A post.
Yes.
To kind of guide me, but you're exactly right, Sam. Everybody does it a little bit different. We've got 40 seconds left in the qualifying session.
And some things haven't changed because we see Goodpaster and Witt just pull right up to the top.
Now they did not run the same time, and so that's an excellent thing. The weather here at Daytona, by the way, is picturesque. 75 degrees in the air, 83 degrees on the track.
We go to Florida.
43% humidity, winds 8 miles an hour out of the east, partly cloudy. Just about a perfect day to have an automobile race.
I'm trying to warm my hands at the virtual Daytona here at my monitor. I'm just trying to warm my hands. Let's get a feel for the good weather.
That sounds like a winter to me, Sam. I just came off a boat in the Caribbean. I'm ready to go back.
I'm sure you're quite spoiled, that's for sure.
On the pole is going to be Jeffrey Goodpaster. He sets a lap 174.352. Gregorio Dorso, he's going to be the outside of the front row. Paul Witt, Nolan Milnes round out row 2. Ryan O'Donoghue, Pat O'Brien, row 3. Row 4, Andrew Milner and Alan Bergen. Wow. Joao Guerrera, he's going to be starting 9th next to Chad Winstead. David Dunwoody, Andy Dunwoody, you'll hear us call him both ways. He's going to go 11th. With Michael Kirk in 12th, Brian Sharp 13th, Kendale Paul 14th, Destin Ramsey 15th, Jalen Story is going to go 16th. Chad, how do you say that again?
Dulabon.
Go ahead, Sam. I didn't catch it.
Dulabon.
Chad Dulabon is going to go is going to be 17th. He'll be flanked by Donald Green in 18th. Ted Craven and Liam Anderson will round out your top 20. 21st, Tyler Smith. 22nd, Adam O'Brien. Colt Curry will go 23rd. Ken Analand, 24th. Keith Graham, 25th. Colby Pierce, 26th. John Hutchins, 27th. Harley Day is 28th. Jeremy Dunwoody, 29th. The broadcast car will not race. Justin Osterman, Winfield Dobruck, Jason Southard, Todd Stacy, and Sean Mott are going to round out what is a 34-car field. That's an awesome showing for this series, for certain sure.
It's impressive. It's interesting to me too, as we talked about at the broadcast last night with the Xfinity cars, just how different drivers have a different approach and a different mentality and a different philosophy of how they want to race at the supers, and you see that evident even in qualifying, as there were so many drivers who chose with a big field. It would sway some people to say, I think I would just rather lay back and just sit in the back with the stages. The stages will give us an opportunity to gather back up again and just try to avoid any incidences that may happen. So it's interesting to see how many did not qualify or put up a time.
You know, that's exactly right. We have, about half the field that didn't set a time. And, you know, that definitely to me says that there's going to be some
more than a third.
Yeah. Well, you know, you're going to have guys that are going to ride around in the back. That's typically my strategy here. I know I'm not very good at plate racing, so I typically just try to survive and advance. Hi, Adam O'Brien. Mm-hmm. Adam O'Brien, a former 24-hour teammate of mine. Good to see Adam back in the field. He took a lengthy break from sim racing, so it's good to see Adam back and enjoying himself. We are on the one and only pace lap again.
The green. That's exactly right. Pace. The lights are out on the pace truck. I'm telling you, I'm getting excited. I'm not even in my truck. I would like to be in that broadcast truck and give you an in-car commentary or in-truck commentary tonight, but this will just have to do from the press box, and so I'm excited. I'm really excited to see how the race goes tonight.
You know, I am too. We'll take a look from the back of the pace truck. There's the snarling field behind the pace truck there. But we're getting ready to rock.
Let's pull them belts tight, Mark. Let's just pull them tight. Get snug in the seat. Hold on to the steering wheel.
You know, I believe I'm going to have to bill you right. The green flag is in Barney's hand. We are set and ready to rock. 120 laps here at Daytona for the Archway Industrial Coatings Daytona 250. The green flag is out and the race is on.
Now, these trucks will take a good half lap just to get up to speed, and then they'll take a full lap just to make sure that they can get in their respective lines and begin to push and find the momentum. So it's going to take a little bit. This is not unusual for the top line to take a little more time to get organized. But you can see some trucks, the Joao Guerrera has already moved to the bottom. There's already some trucks that have made their decision that they're going to ride.
Yeah, and I would suspect after yesterday that we're going to see a lot of these drivers. We're going to see a lot of these drivers just kind of ride a little bit. We're not going to see a ton of jockeying, you know, especially from those that were involved in early accidents yesterday, and especially from, you know, drivers like Kendall Paul, who defending series champion, defending winner of this race. He was a pedestrian before the end of the first stage yesterday. He does not want a repeat of that tonight.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And like you were saying earlier, Mark, a lot of it is not their doing, that they get caught in someone else's mistake or someone else's situation. Ooh, Miller. Wow, that was close. Andrew Miller just iced right out to the top line. I don't know if that was intentional or a save. So when you were running in this particular league, Mark, what, and you were running in the trucks, you're typically an open wheel guy. I mean, what was your feeling about running a full season with these trucks?
So first of all, I really enjoyed it. It's, very much a lot of the drivers that race in this series in particular, they're more league oriented, and so when you see some of the I ratings here, we'll use Andy Dunwoody as an example, 2970. That's really an underrepresentation, or it's really underrated. I would kind of liken it, to a mid-level IndyCar league where guys focus entirely on leads, and so it's really hard to handicap it by looking at I rating. And for me, doing this here, I was scared the entire time. I would have gone straight to the back and said, "Y'all, you boys have at it." You've got Andrew Miller. He ran up front. He ran real good all night last night. Got caught up in something at the end. Andrew Miller going to the front. He's got Paul Witt and Jeffrey Goodpaster though right there stuck together on the bottom. Miller trying to lead that top line though. He's got some help behind him. He's going to try to rally back. He's going to try to rally back, but Goodpaster sees the run coming. He's going to move up and throw the block on the 40.
I already see that some trucks that started in the back have decided they're just going to slowly work their way up. Justin Osterman is one of those, starting in the 29th position. He's already up to 18th. And so what I'm seeing in the back of the field or throughout the field is that drivers are giving a lot of respect here. They're pacing with good space between the trucks. No one's really overdoing it or forcing the issue of bump drafting. The drivers are taking advantage of openings that may be up top or bottom so that they can progress up to the front of the field if that's what they choose. So far, I'm really impressed with what I'm seeing.
Yeah, you've got two of the Dark Horse Performance trucks down there on the apron. They're saying they've had enough. They're going to the back. That is typical for that team.
The 07, and Alan's really just trying. I think he's trying to get to the back. He got a little too low in the corner with that yellow line and just got lost the truck. It was close.
Yeah, apron bad, just like in.
It separated the field. It actually has caused a division here. We'll see if the drivers can align themselves enough to catch that lead pack again. It looks like the spacing's good enough that they can if they'll work together.
Well, the question is, do they want to? That's a bunch of Dark Horse Performance and Black Magic Studios trucks back there. It could be. It could be that they're kind of intentionally laying
their own
back
space. That's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point.
Kind of like the Gibbs strategy. There's Andy Dunwoody, and of course he's got Adam O'Brien. Those two are very, very good friends, both in and out of iRacing. They're right there together. I don't think they're laying back on purpose, but it's possible they could be.
Well, now they're starting to close that gap.
Michael Kirk, of course, in the 54. Ken Holland, he's in the 84. They're right around Andy Dunwoody. Adam O'Brien has gone a little bit forward of that. Paul
Witt is just one of those drivers that's decided he's going to go fast in practice, he's going to go fast in qualifying, and I'm going to run up front for the majority of this race. It just seems like that he has that concentration and that frame of mind, and he's making it come to pass right now because he is leading this field.
And that's something that you're going to see a lot of out of Paul Witt. David Dunwoody, Andy Dunwoody, he goes fastest, 189.234, and that's pretty incredible given that we qualified 15 miles an hour slower than that here tonight, Sam. But you're going to see a lot of Paul Witt going to the front. He's a guy that traditionally is going to try to get to the front. I'm not going to say by any means necessary. He definitely wants to be up among that lead group. He wants to be leading if at all possible. Right. That's just his MO, and that's how he drives. And I think, from my perspective here, there's really only two safe places to be. Either either leading the race.
Actually, there's probably four.
either leading the race or all the way out back.
Or in the bleachers or at home.
In the bleachers or at home. And speaking of at home, we had an incredible turnout last night for the AMA Xfinity Series. And I have to
big shout out to the viewers. Absolutely.
Yeah, great.
Chat was amazing. The chat was excellent. The interaction from the fans that were watching the broadcast, really, you're right. A big shout out.
Yeah, and Sam, I don't know if you've got the analytics up, but we've got more people watching tonight than we did last night. 53 concurrent viewers out there, 368 total already. If you're out there, do want to shout out, do want to thank you for tuning in to the AMA American Motorsport Association Archway Industrial Coatings Truck Series. I'm your host, Mark Murphy. Sam Crow alongside me in the booth. He's the one that knows about stock car racings. I just work the cameras and try to sound intelligent. If you have
not, the man that finished second in the points in this series last year.
If you haven't already done so, go ahead and click the like button on the video and ring the bell to subscribe. Those are the two biggest ways that you can help the series and help us as a channel, and we definitely appreciate that. Right now, 10 laps into 100, Liam Anderson leads it from Paul Witt. Nolan Milnes is third. Joao Guerrera is fourth, and Andrew Miller rounds out your top five, although he swapped that with Joao Guerrera there momentarily. Jeffrey Goodpaster is also up in that mix. That front six really kind of has a... That front six really...
They seem to be a lot more racy than the rest of the field. It seems like the rest of the field is a little more spread out, a little bit more methodical, but it seems like... Oh, wow! Milnes almost loses it in turn two. Miller apologizes, I think, for that contact, but boy, what a save by Milnes there, coming out of two.
We'll go on board with Nolan Milnes here. He runs fourth in that 11 truck. The plain white wrapper, it looks like something out of a Lord Hesketh movie. He's going a little bit backwards now. You might see something like that in the movie Rush out of the number 11.
Probably did cut some of the momentum of that top line. Is why you saw Miller go to the bottom, but now Joao Guerrera is actually being pushed by Miller, and they're changing it up a little bit. So when he got loose like that,
yeah, now you got four trucks right together on the top line. We've got 12 laps out of 100 complete. We would like to remind everybody there is going to be a stage break here at lap 20, so business is going to start picking up very, very, very shortly. If it hasn't done so already, we had 6 trucks become 8, become 10. The 72 has poked his hat into the ring. That's going to be John Hutchins. Ted Craven is up there now. Colby Pierce has come from the back. He is now 11th. And so there are points on offer for the stage break. Those boys want to get up there and get them. Joao Guerrera goes to the lead. Milner second. Anderson third. Milnes fourth. Witt fifth.
Notice that I know sometimes whenever I'm working with someone on the top side, if they're kind enough to give me a good push on the top side, sometimes I really try to hope that as a reward, if they're pushing me well enough, that we can get enough momentum for both of us to clear that bottom line and come down together. I don't know if it's just my character, but I feel guilty if someone really gave me that kind of push to get me where I can get to the lead, and then I would leave them hanging out there. I could only hope that either we can get to the front together or the person behind them can push them in front of me. I've just got that kind of character about me sometimes whenever I'm getting pushed on the outside.
You know, and that's a great point. I'm that way in Indy cars. I'll dance with the people that brought me. In these things, I will tell you, Sam, it is the most uncomfortable feeling that you can have. For me, at least, being pushed. I come from a background where you're not supposed to push.
You don't touch.
You don't touch. This is definitely a contact sport. You see that?
There's no question about that.
Yeah, you're looking off the back of Joao Guerrera, and he has got a rear view mirror full of Liam Anderson right now.
If you've noticed, now the pack, with 5 to go before the stage break, now the pack has started to close the ranks a little bit. Now we're more defined 2 by 2. We're in a pace type. Oh, we're 3 wide coming off of turn 2.
We are indeed.
And the 3 falls back in. Good pacer. It falls back in line there. I don't know if he got wiggly just pushing or what, but it looked very scary there for a second.
100%. Pedro Blebel, go roar. Cody Witt, he's cheering on Paul from the chat. Thank you, Tectonic. We're gonna try to keep up the good work. Liam Anderson has fans in the chat, and as does Don Green. His wife, Katie Banks, is in the house, and so we thank everybody for watching. Coming down to get 5 to go for the stage.
There's contact between Miller and Guerrera, and they make it work. Someone
I thought it was good.
The wall after that contact.
I thought it was good pacer that kind of got up in the wall there. The number 3 truck. It did look like he caught it coming down through the tri-oval. But you got to keep on trucking. He's got the 42, a Colby Pierce, that's right on his back tailgate.
If you think that points don't matter, then you're not watching the race we're watching, because here closing in on this first stage, and people are fighting for this. They are working their way up here. They're hungry.
Hey, you know what? You put some money, you put some points on the line, and these boys are going to race for it. We're coming to get 17 of 100 complete here in the Archway.
Here comes Milnes with the big run on the top side. Witt pushing him hard. It looks like this might work going into the tri-oval and then into the first turn. I'm excited to see where this is going to end at just the first stage.
It is. It most certainly is. Paul Witt is locked on the back of Nolan Milnes, and he's got the number 3 of Jeffrey Goodpacer. Those are 3 fast trucks. And look at the 4th truck in line on the top. That's Colby Pierce. Last night's
always finding his way.
He does. Last night's second place finisher. He had a great run last night. For a thimbleful of fuel, he would have traded his kingdom. Colby Pierce has come to the front now that we're nearing the end of this stage. He's looking for 7th. He's the 3rd truck in line on the top. You've got Goodpacer into the back of the number 11 of Nolan Milnes. Paul Witt leads it from Andrew Miller, and that's going to be Joao Guerrera. He's the 3rd truck in line on the bottom. Also entering the fray, you've got, it's 18 on the track, but that's the 8 of Liam Anderson down there. Colby Pierce, though, he's working to the high side. He's got the 36 of Gregorio Dorso to his inside. The top 8 covered by a blanket.
Unbelievable. I think in some ways, if you're not running in that top 8 in those first 4 rows, you're probably just reserving yourself just to avoid anything that may happen and just finish the stage out. And you know you're probably not going to get up there unless you really force an issue. It's way too early for 3 wide.
You know, it most certainly is, Sam, and I was going to say that, you know, in order to finish first, you must first finish. These guys aren't worrying about finishing lap 100. They're worrying about finish lap 100. 2 to go for the stage. Coming to the line, Paul Witt, Andrew Miller, dead heat. Row 2, Nolan Milnes and Joao Guerrera. Now they're pushing and shoving.
Yes, the closer these trucks. Oh, someone's on the apron. He comes back up in front of the field. Oh, that was so close. He saves it, and the field avoids it. What a great save.
That's going to be John Hutchins in the 72. And there John is. He's got it down to the apron. He's got it down to the bottom side on that paved area coming to the bus stop for the road course. The Le Mans chicane, as it's been renamed. But we need to get back to the front.
4. Bring us to the line.
It's going to be Andrew Miller. He's got a good shove from Nolan Milnes. Paul Witt going to rally back on the inside. Miller led it. I think we're going to go one more
Still
here.
No caution.
Yeah.
Still no caution on the track.
Well, we're going to go one more. So the caution's going to get thrown at the end of this one. Right? We're working lap 20 of 100, remember.
At the end of 20 laps.
End of 20. Alan Bergen, his wife Leslie, joining us.
And down goes Miller. Miller dives in front of Witt, and now Witt's going to push him. I don't know if the Highline has enough time to organize to get a big run, but Milnes is certainly going to try off a 4. Oh, it's so close.
I'm going to give that one. I'm going to give that one to Andrew Miller. He's going to get that by about a third of the hood. We went on board briefly with Nolan Milnes there. Goodpacer is going to finish 3rd. Paul Witt is going to be 4th, and Joao Guerrera is going to be your top 5. at the moment of caution. Holy Moses! If you don't like that, I don't.
I'm telling you, Saran wrap over the first 6 cars, first 6 trucks. I mean, it's just that close.
Most certainly is. Now, here's the question that I'll pose to you, Sam. 21 laps complete. We're going to have at least 4 caution laps here. The next stage break is going to be 40 coming to get 41. Do they need to pit? Do they have to pit, or can you stay out here and make it to the end of the next stage without the pit stop?
Are there any fuel restrictions?
There are not.
Or are we running full fuel?
We're running full distance.
Because a lot of the truck
fuel.
leagues I run in are 75% fuel. So I'm just double checking my information here. I don't see fuel restrictions.
Nope.
So with a caution, I think you're still going to be really pushing the envelope to get to lap 42. And technically, that's about where you're going to be if he runs the lap after lap 40.
There you have it. Stock car expert Sam Crow. He knows. He knows the fuel strategies. He knows how to get around Daytona. Not able to make
Depending on the draft, how throttle usage. You know, it could be if you're leading, of course, you're going to get far less fuel mileage as those that are drafting and only running three-quarter throttle. But
whoa, the 40 hit the wall on the inside coming to the pit lane.
No way.
He locked him up. That's the 40 machine of Andrew Miller. Yeah, he locked up coming into his pit box, slid through it, and tagged the inside wall.
No, he got touched by Milnes.
He did.
Actually got touched in the right rear by Milnes.
Okay, so we had it on the camera. We're gonna go find that and show it to the fans at home. Here's the 40 coming into the pit lane.
You can see the back of the truck rise up.
Yeah, and that's a major incident. You wouldn't think that pit road would be the hazard here, but our first contact occurs on the pit lane under the caution. That's the 11 of Nolan Milnes. He is right behind the 40. Do they actually hit? Right there they do. So the 40 gets tagged in the rear by the 11. He slides.
Yes,
he slides into.
That is you would not think it, but that is an actual very critical part of the truck. And the damage model in the trucks is, I don't know what it is, but iRacing made it exceptionally sensitive. And anytime that you're hitting the left or the right front of these trucks, the sensitivity to the wheel can be affected. And so how long was Andrew Miller's pit stop?
So Andrew Miller was on the pit lane 13.5. It was in his box 13.5. So he didn't get any of that damage fixed.
No damage to be fixed.
Well, there's damage visible on the truck. If you look at the back of it, you can see a nice.
May have turned it off.
Yeah, you can see a nice dent in the back of that 40. So
sure can.
He's definitely got some damage.
There is it. It looks that way. Yes. You're exactly right. When we were looking at the replay from the end of pit road, you could see where the back of his truck actually rose from the contact, and that's he lost the steering, is why he caught the inside retaining wall. But now that wall is live, although the cars are ghosted in their pit stall.
The wall is live,
yeah. You can. Correct. The wall is always live.
Absolutely, it most certainly is. We got one coming to green. We're going to pay some bills real quick, Sam. Archway Industrial Coatings is a St. Louis-based floor coating company that has been getting the job done for years. Their epoxy and urethane flooring solutions withstand the test of time while meeting their customers' installation schedules and budgets. They're committed to doing the highest quality work at the lowest possible cost every time. Strong and stable company. They're accredited by the Better Business Bureau. Their employees are highly trained craftsmen and know the difference between a job and a job well done. They also know how to quickly and efficiently keep labor costs down while never sacrificing the quality that is the bedrock of their reputation. Whether you're looking for industrial flooring, commercial, restaurant, retail, or even concrete repair at home, you found the perfect partner to get the job done now. That's Archway Industrial Coatings. You can see their website. That's archwaycoatings.com. Or you can reach out to Sean Mott. Would also like to thank Admin Box Race Control at the touch of the button. Black Magic Studios. Go get you a paint worth 2/10. Trak Racer and Rogue Energy, the world's best energy gaming drink. We are getting ready to come back to green to start stage 2, 23 of 100 down, about ready to start lap 24. And Sam, I can only hope that these next 17 or 18 laps are just as good as the first 20.
It's going to be hard to top, but these drivers are proving themselves more than able to race these trucks and race them clean and put on a great event. And so I'm with you. I'm eager to see how they're going to allow this next stage to play out. I'm interested to see how the damage affects Andrew Miller, and I'm interested to see how the husbands are doing the wives that are cheering them all in Jackson. Thanks, cheering on Don Green, and then Leslie Bergen is wishing her husband Alan Bergen equally a good run. So it's exciting to see the fan participation as well.
It most certainly is. We're going to give you the drone cam. This is the camera at Daytona that kind of flies on that wire, if you ever see it. But this is what that is, and I'm bringing you these pictures.
Love that camera angle. Love it.
Yeah, bringing you these pictures. Whiplash SimCams. Always want to thank them for their support of the P1 Broadcasting Network. Working lap 24, you've got João Guerrera, Nolan Milnes at the front. That's Guerrera on the bottom. Jeffrey Goodpaster is pushing him. You've got Milnes leading that top line, and Andrew Miller does not seem to be affected all that much by that damage, Sam.
Yeah, he only lost a few positions considering that he went in first, and he's still in the top 6 or 7, just trying to make sure that he can get a feel for the truck and see if there's anything that's going to affect it. It could very well draft just as good in the draft as it did, even with the minimal amount of damage that it has on it.
You know, I was going to say that it might not affect him that much in the draft, but it could. Where it's going to come into play is, you know, if he pulls out and tries to lead this thing, that's where it's going to really. That's where that scratch and that dent are really going to tell the tale. Top line, though, does have a slight advantage. Milnes going to go back to the lead over Guerrera. Got some help from Paul Witt, too.
Right. I know Goodpaster is really pushing Guerrera very, very aggressively to make sure that he tries to keep him in a position ahead of the outside line. I don't know how good red and purple paint mix, but we're going to find out at the end of this race.
They mix about like that, Sam. When you see the bodywork and the camera go away, that means that the trucks are locked together in the sim. That's
Goodpaster to the top. That's what he was waiting on.
Yeah, that was from the nose of Jeffrey Goodpaster, and you saw it. João Guerrera got a little loose. Jeffrey Goodpaster turned that puppy to the right and drove right up in front of Nolan Milnes. He's going to fight for the lead alongside of Guerrera as they head off into turn 3.
I am thoroughly impressed with the amount of patience that a lot of the drivers in the back of the field are exhibiting tonight. They're really just making sure that their moves are pointed and they're thinking the race through. It's exciting to see that these drivers are actually way ahead of what's in front of them right now. They realize that.
You know, they most certainly are, and I do kind of want to point out the guy that's been in the back for a lot of this run. That's the 28, Andy Dunwoody. He has moved himself up to 14th. He's got the 28 on the bottom. That's the Black Magic Studios Kevin Harvick tribute throwback. He's got Black Magic Studios on the side, P1 Broadcasting on the hood. Andy Dunwoody is bringing that puppy forward. He's going to put it to the top now, looking to the outside of the 31. He'll get that position, move Andy Dunwoody up one more spot. He's under the 32 at Jason Southern, and he's looking to link up with the 30. That's Ted Craven. Not teammates, but they are very, very good friends. We'll see. And Ted Craven is a very good Ted Craven is a very good restrictor plate racer as well. We see one of those Black Magic Studios P1 Broadcasting trucks move all the way to the bottom. That's Adam O'Brien going to the back. Meanwhile, while Andy Dunwoody makes his charge, the battle at the front, Sam, that rages on. Jeffrey Goodpaster has it. João Guerrera wants it. Nolan Milnes and Liam Anderson are on make up row 2, and Paul Witt is pushing that top line. Goodpaster trying to play both sides of the street here. Sam, you still there? Did we lose you? I think Sam might be having some technical difficulty with his headset.
Hello, I'm back.
Sam is back. So now we actually have somebody that knows something. No, now we have somebody that actually knows something about stock car racing in the booth. Sam Crow had a little bit of trouble with the headset, technical difficulties.
I was getting so excited watching Dunwoody make his way through the field, and apparently I messed up my communications a little bit. So
that's quite all right. The battle at the front continues to rage. Dunwoody has made it up to 13th. Chad Winstead is 12th. He is another extremely handy restrictor plate racer. And how about Brian Sharp? He was the first car out of the race last night. Brian Sharp has made it up to 11th. Winfield Dobrook. Winfield is up there too. He is 10th. And so, great run for Winfield Dobrook. He is in the 18. He is just outside of the picture here for Winfield. That is the royal blue and black with green numbers on the 18. That's a good looking truck, and he's giving it a
nice livery.
Yeah, he's giving it a good ride. Winfield's going to be what, 5th there on the top line, looking to make it 3 wide on the 32 of Jason Southern. He thought better of it, falls back in line. Milnes and Goodpaster seem to have chosen their respective lines. Milnes is going to lead the top. Goodpaster is going to lead the bottom, and everybody else is going to jockey behind him for whatever position they can get.
Yeah, I think Milnes is actually trying to communicate with the best that he can so that they can work together on that high side. I'm not hearing every bit of the communication, but it sounds like they're trying to put something together so that they can get the most out of that top.
Well, I tell you what,
they're bumping up. It looks like there's a little bit of bumping going on here.
Yeah, they most certainly were. The 29 of Paul Witt, and you saw it off of his nose. The 29 of Paul Witt was locked on the rear of the 11 of Nolan Milnes. The 11 got kind of swirly. Paul Witt had to back out of it, and that kind of made that top line get a little bit disorganized. Paul Witt also lost a spot in that shuffle, as did Nolan Milnes. It's going to be João Guerrera. He's going to lead the top line. He's going to lead the top line now on the 3 of Jeffrey Goodpaster, but they can't quite clear him.
Another truck darting out toward the wall there, going into the tri-oval. I was watching earlier when you were talking about Dunwoody, and you can tell a seasoned veteran when it comes to these plate tracks, because what they'll do is they will zigzag through the lines. They'll wait for an opening, go high, wait for an opening, go low, and they'll just slowly, position by position, just zigzag through the field until they can get back up to the front, if they can. But once the closer you get to the front, those opportunities become less frequent.
You're quite right there, Sam. And you know, knowing Andy the way that I know Andy, he also likes to kind of tempt it where. He also kind of likes to tempt it where he'll go to the front, he'll figure out how to get there, he'll drop to the back, he'll go to the front again. He does that. I don't want to say it out of boredom, but he's trying to figure it out for later. Knowing who he can race with, who he can push,
who he can't. Right.
You know, who's good to be around. We just showed you the speed shot there through the front here at Daytona, 34 laps out of 100. Do want to thank everybody out there for watching. Wonderful interaction in the chat. Keep hitting us up in the chat. We'll always talk to you and talk about you. If you do like the coverage and respect the stream, make sure you hit the like button on the video, the subscribe, ring the bell to subscribe to the channel. Do always appreciate that as we fight the YouTube algorithm game. 34 laps, coming to get 35, start 35 here at the Daytona International Speedway.
Oh, they're so close coming through the tri-oval. It's so risky through there.
You couldn't have fit a sheet of paper. You couldn't have fit a sheet of newspaper between those two. And be careful.
Wow is clearly just trying to slow the lower line down and get a little bit of a side draft there, so that they can have more speed going into one. And they were incredibly close. That is such a risky place to be side drafting.
It most certainly is, and it's not just for the reasons that you might think. Yeah, we talked about last night the aero the aero implications of being that close to somebody and how the air moves the Grand National cars around. It moves these trucks around. It moves these trucks around in a much more severe manner because they're not nearly as aerodynamically efficient. They don't have nearly the aerodynamic devices. You don't see yeah, they've got the tall spoilers, but you don't see the splitters in the front or the side skirts on these trucks. So they're not as aero.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. And if you watch the broadcast, if you're watching closely the trucks as they come into the corners, there is even more movement than what you saw with the Xfinity car. The Xfinity cars, a lot of their movements based on aero affecting suspension, whereas the trucks, the aero affects the body itself. And so the movement that you're seeing, the closer these trucks get together, the more the pack is close, the more the air moves around the truck and it causes it to sway like that in the corners. And so you will get just as much movement out of these trucks, despite a slower speed. You will get just as much movement.
That's completely true. The other thing that I'd like to point out is that something that they don't have to deal with in real life, but we do have to deal with in the sim, is netcode. And so, when you're side drafting like that, there's always the opportunity that the sim is going to calculate you off by a micromillimeter or two, and that's all it takes to turn somebody loose. Netcode, by the way, the chances of that increase with speed, and we're doing in this pack. We're doing 187 miles an hour going through turn 3. That's Liam Anderson that we're watching. The faster they go, the more likely it is that you're going to get one of those netcode events. And if you're racing at the front of this thing and something like that happens, you could wipe out a ton of trucks just for something.
Absolutely.
Yeah, just for something no more than a computer calculating your position wrong by an inch.
Now, just for clarification, the second truck that's in line behind Goodpaster, it shows 18, but it is being scored as the number 8 of Liam Anderson. The truck actually shows 18 on the broadcast, if I'm not mistaken.
It most certainly does. We do have a lap truck fixing to come by here. That is the 51 of Donald.
They're trying to organize here.
Yeah, I was going to say
that was so close.
The 51 of Don Green has gone a lap down, as has
the 24 is moved out of the way. He's pulled down to the bottom of the racetrack to allow the leaders by and the field to go by.
All right, here we go. Sam, it's 2 to go for another stage.
Todd Stacy did a great job of getting out of the way there. The leaders.
I'm watching this. I'm watching this, Sam. I've got the real life truck race just to my left. I can't tell the difference between this and what's going on in real life Daytona.
Well, I can tell the difference. These guys are really fighting.
Speaking of fighting, Paul Witt jumps up and makes it 3 wide on the top.
Seems like they're pacing a little bit more. Now Paul Witt on the top side, all alone by himself. He's in no man's land. No help whatsoever.
Yeah, he pulled up there to try to get the third line going, and nobody went with him.
No one was biting.
Now you got the number 5 of Sean Mott. He has come from the back.
This should be the last lap before the stage ends.
It is going to be the last lap before the stage ends. Sean Mott has driven the Archway Industrial Coatings number 5 straight to the front. He has come basically from the mid-20s in this field up.
Anderson is moving around so much on that low side.
He is, and that could be. That almost looks like an equipment issue, like there's a tooth missing in his wheel or something like that.
It could be, but watching his race line, it could be his entry and his exit, and how he's approaching his runs, how he wants to get a run to push Goodpaster. And so there they come to the flag. The yellow is out, and looks like Jeffrey Goodpaster is going to win the stage.
Most certainly will. Jao Garcia is going to be second. Liam Anderson third. Nolan Milnes fourth. Gregorio Dorso is going to be fifth. That is your top 5. Jason Southard sixth. Andrew Miller seventh. So the damage has not, as far as we can tell, negatively impacted him too badly. Jason Southard seventh. Sean Mott eighth. Chad, I'm going to struggle with that last name.
Which one?
Chad Dillabon. He is ninth, and Brian Sharp.
It's Dulabon.
Dulabon. Brian Sharp and Paul Witt are having a disagreement over 10th and 11th. So we are at the end of stage 2, and I'm grateful for the caution flag. One, it gives us a chance to pay some bills, but Sam, it also gives us a chance to catch our breath.
Exactly. Contact. Liam Anderson completely nails the back of Joao Guerrera's truck. Under the caution, he has respectively apologized.
Yeah, you're watching it there. They were all checking up for the pace car, and Liam just kind of didn't check up, and that's something you got to be really careful of. You got to hope that there's no damage to either one of those trucks, because
it will show up on this pit stop.
Yeah, it most certainly will.
It will hold them. It will hold them to do the repairs if it's optional. It wouldn't, of course, it wouldn't bring on any required repairs, but if there's any optional, then it may hold them.
And that's something I was going to ask you too. If you're, Sam, if you're one of these cars and the 11 slides through his pit box and almost makes contact with the wall on the inside, if you've got 5, 10, 15 seconds of optional repair here, do you take it? Do you not take it? Good pacer going to win the race off pit road.
Some drivers would probably, if they're running up front, they just feel so strongly that track position is vital to them and they want to be up there. If the damage is significant enough that they can't lead, that they know they can hold the draft. Whereas there are some drivers who feel strongly, I want my truck to be as straight as it can be for the remainder of the race. So I'll just go ahead and light this damage repair, and I'll just start where I come back out at. Again, it is a personal preference of the driver and what the length of the repairs are. Typically, anything between 10 and 15 seconds is really not going to affect you that much. The spotters are excellent at letting you know if you have wheel damage or significant damage. And the crew chiefs in the pits are equally as good as letting you know what's optional and what is not optional. It's required. So it just depends on the driver and his approach and where he wants to be in the race.
And speaking of where they want to be, Donald Green has been on pit road for over a minute. There's repair going on to that automobile. Todd Stacy has punched out of the number 24, so he is tentatively the first car out of the race. Jeremy Dunwoody, Pat O'Brien, Ted Craven.
Oh, would Todd Stacy not been the lucky dog right there?
He would have, but he has punched out of the. He
sure has. He sure has. He would have been the lucky dog.
He would have. We're looking at Donald Green. He's been on the pit lane for, a minute and a half, and so fairly substantial repair happening to the number 51
Donald Green
truck.
Actually, when the leaders were approaching them, the lap trucks of Stacy and Green, Donald chose to go to the high side, and when he did, he made significant contact with the wall. So there is a good chance that he's probably getting those repairs to fix the truck from that particular contact.
100%, and Donald Green was already a lap or two down anyway, and so it makes sense for him to stay on pit road and get that get that truck healthy, for the end of this thing. If he can, if he can get back out there, we saw last night, cautions breed cautions. Pretty good chance if you get that thing back out there, you'll eventually wind up back on the lead lap with a shot at it. Do want to give a shout out to our friends at Archway Industrial Coatings. They're a St. Louis-based floor coating company that have been getting that job done for years. Epoxy and urethane flooring solutions that withstand the test of time while meeting their customers' installation schedules and their budgets. They're committed to doing the highest quality work at the lowest possible cost every time. That's Archway Industrial Coatings, archwaycoatings.com. Working lap 43 under the stage brake yellow. Nolan Milnes is your leader. Joao Guerrera is second. Liam Anderson third. Paul Witt fourth, and Gregorio Dorso is going to round out your top five. They're going to get ready to get into the double file, their double file positions, and we're going to restart this puppy. This is going to be the longest run of the race. This is going to be the longest run of the race for us, Sam.
This is the race within the race. This is actually where pit stop skills will be tested, strategy will be tested. working with your teammates and communication will be tested. This is where the race takes on a different tune. If you're a driver and you're working stages, you know that you'll have those cautions working to your advantage, and you will be able to stop, get fresh tire, full tank of fuel, and you can reset for the end of this race. And now here's where it really tests the skills and the abilities of these drivers and teams.
Well said, Sam. The top 9 do break away on that start. Joao Guerrera is your leader. Nolan Milnes temporarily will go back to third. He is leading that top line, but Gregorio Dorso has gone to second. We're watching this one from the P1 airship, bringing you these pictures courtesy of Whiplash Simcams. Do want to thank them for their support of the P1 Broadcasting Network. If you're out there and you're watching, and we do have a lot of people doing that, make sure you hit the like on the video, the like button on the video, smash the bell, ring the bell, and subscribe to the P1 Broadcasting Network for more fine iRacing coverage. We do have a ton of events planned for our viewers, and we'll go over the upcoming schedule here in just a minute. But there's a lot of programming that's going to happen on this channel in the next 2 or 3 weeks. Sam and I, of course, will be here every Thursday and Friday night up through the month of May. Sam, we're going to do 12 weeks in a row of this. 8.
Wow.
8.
Oh, heavens. Can you imagine? I may have to see my heart surgeon before this is over.
I'll tell you what, you're going to be tired of me by the time it's over with. That's for doggone sure. That's for doggone sure. But same time, we're going to go live at 8:30 instead of 8:20. We did 8:20 so we could, kind of preview the trucks, make sure everything worked, make sure everything, the interface between the sessions and the channel was A-OK. But we'll go live at 8:30 every Thursday for the Grand National Series, Black Magic Grand National Series, and every Friday for the Archway Coatings. We got 3 wide.
Matt, what a bold move that was.
Yeah, they kicked.
Milnes was not mincing anything right there. No,
he got some help from Liam Anderson and Paul Witt, and they kicked Gregorio Dorso right out of line.
Oh, no question. The Dorio is clearly a man on the island tonight, because there was no help whatsoever in that particular instance. Milnes said, I've been up front this whole race. I want to stay up front this race.
Another car that we haven't really talked about, that's the number 34 Sunoco painted.
The Chad and Chad show.
Yeah, that's the 34 Chad Winstead. Chad Winstead is a really, really, really good plate racer. It was that truck that I passed on the last lap at Talladega for a win there. I had some help from Colby Pierce in that one, but it was Chad Winstead that led that field coming off of turn number 4. He slipped up a little bit. I managed to get to the bottom of him and beat him back to the flag. But Chad Winstead's a handy plate racer, and he's showing why. Gives it a little bit of a shove to Joao Guerrera. They go down the backstretch into turn 3, and you can see it from this camera angle. The rear bumper on that 59 whited out Crown Royal truck, that's not straight anymore, Sam.
No, I believe that is from the contact with Liam Anderson making contact with the back of the valve. Now,
well, I don't think
you can actually see that the spoiler is actually bent inward. The whole tailgate of the truck is actually bent inward.
It's not doing the Gary Nelson Bobby Allison trick where it flies off, but it's definitely caved in back there. Chad Winstead is not helping matters. He's trying to, he sees that rear bumper is damaged, and he thinks he might just have to come all the way off, locked together with Joao Guerrera down the backstretch here at Daytona.
Well, that's 3 inches closer that he can be to the truck in front of him.
I'm almost afraid to go to that nose cam
big
because
push here from Liam Anderson.
Yeah, and you can see how out of shape Joao Guerrera gets. Going
it's in that child.
Yeah. So they've switched up. Nolan Milnes, I don't think, has been on the bottom this entire day in that 11, but he is on the bottom now. He's got the 34 of Winstead behind him. The 98 of...
Well, he's certainly learned he's not afraid to get in the middle.
Yeah, and then you've got Chad. You're going to have to say it for me, Sam, a bunch more times because I'm going to keep getting it wrong.
Chad Doulabon. I'm going just off enunciation of how I think it would have to be announced. It could be Dull. but I'm pronouncing it Dulabon.
Yeah, Chad Dulabon there. He's in the 98. But you do have the Chad and Chad show. They're on rows 2 and 3 respectively. Nolan Milnes has not been able to quite get that bottom line back up to the front yet. It appears as though the top is a little bit more organized as they haul off into turn 1. And Sam, we're just about to halfway. As many accidents and incidents as we had last night, tonight has been spectacularly incident-free. I am knocking on the hardwood floor, though, because we don't want to jinx that.
Don't do it. Don't do it, Mark. Please don't do it. The race has been so good.
It is 100. This is 100% one of the best races that you're going to see, real life or sim, right now. Nolan Milnes leads it. He and João Guerrera have been locked in a duel for that top spot for most of the evening. Liam Anderson and Chad Winstead,
so
they're bouncing off each other. They're not close.
Liam Anderson is clearly moving that truck around a lot.
That wasn't close. There was contact there. That's going to break up the top line just a little bit. That's going to put Nolan Milnes the lead. Chad Winstead is all over the back of that 11, trying to give him a
committed. He's committed to Milnes.
He
that bottom line. And if you've noticed, Andrew Miller has stayed about where he is since the contact on pit lane. This is where he's been since that contact. Whereas earlier he was making his way to the front. I wonder if he's just decided to settle in, make sure that the truck is clean and operating well in the draft. I do wonder what the damage might have been to the truck. Even though the pit stop was not long, it didn't seem that they fixed damage, which he could have very well had turned it off.
Well, he was in the stall for 19 seconds that last time, so he did get something fixed for
something repaired. There you go.
Yeah, he was about 5 seconds long on the pit lane. Top line.
That would make sense, Tim.
Yeah, top line's coming back now. Look who's sneaking in the picture. You can see it just off the right. Sean Mott. He has the 18 of Winfield Dobrik there behind him. But I'm thinking more along the lines of the silver, black, and orange of the 125. That's Brian Sharp. He was out early last night. He's there.
Yes, sir.
My endurance teammate, John Hutchins, he's brought the Australian accent in the 72 up to 13th. I'll tell you who has not made a charge yet, but they're all right back here together. Adam O'Brien in the 87, Pat O'Brien in the 07, Andy Dunwoody in the 28, Kendall Paul in the 78 is back there. Michael, that's the 07 of Pat O'Brien. You've got Michael Kirk.
Oh, they're piling up on the backstretch. It is a big wreck. Coming into turn 3, they're still spinning. It looks like it could easily be 10, 12 trucks in this wreck. It's incredible.
87 of Adam O'Brien almost came to a stop. We've got the camera on Sean Mott, and let's see it.
It looked as though João Guerrera was trying to decide if he was going to go to the bottom. Liam Anderson was not clear. He kind of followed him down and caught the right rear of Guerrera's truck, and then it shot him straight into the outside wall in front of the field.
Yep, so there goes Liam and João. There goes Liam into the wall. Sean Mott, nowhere to go. They collect Paul Witt down into the 98 of Chad Dulabon. Trucks everywhere now. Brian Sharp spinning.
Oh, my heavens. From third position on back, just so many trucks in this wreck.
Certainly were. You see Brian Sharp spinning through the infield. Doesn't look like he's...
So many trucks taking evasive measures. I was getting ready to say that there were a couple of trucks that had been running up front for so long.
Whoa, Kendall Paul. He had it missed and got drilled in the back by the 51. Another tough break from Kendall Paul there. Let's get back here and let's kind of show it from Kendall Paul's perspective. He sees the parking lot ahead of him. He sees it now, and he's getting it slowed up, thinks he's got it missed, and he is just going to be... absolutely hit by Donald Green. Donald Green also slowing up, but just didn't apply the binders quick enough, and absolutely into the back of poor Kendall Paul. The crazy thing about that is, I don't know that that's going to do. I mean, yeah, rip the tailgate off, but I don't know that that's going to do a massive amount of damage to that 78. He might be okay. I mean, clearly,
it is definitely one of the more repairable parts of the truck. You're exactly right. Although, see, the damages, the tailgate's already been replaced as soon as he hit the pit stall. It can be repairable, and it does not affect as much as the nose would on that particular truck.
Yeah, and if there's a saving grace, that's kind of it. And he's, we're also under caution here at Daytona, 55 of 100 complete, working toward lap 56. But if you do have damage, Daytona, Talladega, Indianapolis, those are the places to have it. Caution laps here can take a couple of minutes, and so if you've got damage, you can get it all fixed here. If you've got 4 minutes worth of damage, you can get it all fixed here under one yellow.
Oh yeah, even now, Kendall Paul, Donald Green is apologizing for the contact, but Kendall is actually saying that he's surprised that the damage fix is not as much as he expected. So you were exactly right that it seems like it's repairable for that team.
And you've got a bunch of cars on pit road under repair. There's Jeffrey Goodpaster, Brian Sharp.
Now, I was going to make the
leaving.
comment that Goodpaster and Daddario, they had actually left that fight at the front and fell back. Goodpaster actually won our second stage, and those guys fell back to the back of the field. I wonder if they went back there to avoid an incident and then still got caught up in it, man. You have to feel for those guys. You
most certainly do. I do think that the one truck that's going to come out of the worst of this, and you're looking at it, the 51 of Donald Green, there is smoke pouring from the Mission 22 number 51 truck, and I think that might unfortunately be night over for Donald Green. It's been a tough one for him. He's persevered, but I don't know that one's going to get fixed.
Chad Dulabon is announcing that the damage on his is too extensive. Donald Green is actually making the comment that the damage on his truck is actually extensive as well. So there are some drivers saying that it looks like their night may be over.
Yeah, Sean Mott, you're looking at the number 5, very torn up for the number 5 Ford F-150 there. Liam Anderson has made it back onto the Speedway, although he now appears to be driving an open-wheeled modified, at least on the right side. It's not quite as bad as Mark Martin at Darlington, but it's definitely not going to do him any favors in the draft, or if he doesn't have the draft, for sure.
Right. No, it would be easy to backseat drive what was going through Liam's mind on that drafting coming down the backstretch, but it was just way too close in those particular instances with Joao not making a definitive move up or down, and so it just, the chaos that followed that was instrumental to a lot of the trucks in the field. I hate to see so many. There was still a lot of racing left. I mean, there's 34 laps left in the race, and so still a lot of racing left to be making big moves.
That's a very fair point. And to your point, we had seen a lot of patience out of a lot of these trucks. I guess Liam felt it was time to start being more aggressive. He is on the track. He is still green flag. He is he's coming back out. The race is back on though. Pat O'Brien is now your leader. Chad Winstead avoided that whole thing. He is second. Gregorio Dorso. And now we've got trouble. Pat O'Brien wrecks in front of the field again.
Down to the bottom of the field. Back up across the field.
Oh, and he's going to get tagged by John Hutchins.
Winstead was giving him a push going into one. He did not square up and hit him in the right.
All right, man.
And then he pushed him again. Oh, nope. It looked like he tried to make a move to the bottom. O'Brien tried to move down in front of the 11 of Milnes and just did not have the room.
Yeah, we're going to take a look at it here from the perspective of Andy Dunwoody, maybe. Let's kind of see what Let's kind of see what he sees here. We're going to do it from the gyro cam. How about this? Trucks moving everywhere, trucks everywhere, trucks everywhere. He sees teammate Pat O'Brien spinning there in front of him. He's trying to avoid it. He gets down. That's another team car of Hutchins. And Andy might have gotten away with that one. Might have gotten away with that one. I don't see any additional damage to the 28, but that's a tough break. Pat O'Brien had gotten all the way to the lead.
He just wasn't clear there on that move.
No, and you've got to be very precise in these cars. Pay attention to spotter, crew chief, whatever you've got. Some of these guys do use the Race Lab or iOverlay sensors, which you can do now. That there's a visual alert that will tell you if somebody is in your blind, that if somebody is next to you, left or right. I find that extremely helpful, by the way. Especially in
O'Brien could have very well. I mean, he may not have known that the line on the top side had not materialized yet. It was just he and Chad Winstead, and so with only Chad pushing him, there wasn't enough momentum to keep pushing him forward. And as soon as he steps out from in front of Chad Winstead, he loses momentum, and of course, that lower line was a little more organized, and it closed in really fast.
Yeah, and the closing rates we mentioned the closing rates
yes.
in these trucks, they are huge, and so even though a lot of these guys did race the Grand National car last night, they may still be acclimating to the greater closing speeds of the trucks. When I did this, I did not race in the Grand National Series. I only did the trucks. I was committed to doing a different league in my native car on Thursday nights, Sam, and so I did not do the Xfinity car. And I think that probably helped me because I didn't have anything, not being a stock car guy at all, and having, I think I quit. I still to this day have never driven a cup car in the service in an official session, and I think I only did a handful of Xfinity races.
I see.
Just to get the A license, and then went back to the open wheel stuff. But I think that kind of helped me in this sense, in that I didn't have anything to compare it to.
Mm-hmm.
So, because I didn't have anything.
It looks like Jason Southern got his lap back, and now he is back on the lead lap.
Yeah,
he was the lucky dog on this particular caution.
Yeah, you see Jason in the 32 there. He's coming back around to catch the field. Andy Dunwoody has been on pit lane for significant repair. Jeffrey Goodpaster. Now, this caution, for those guys that were involved in the last one, you see Goodpaster on pit road.
It can buy them more time, yes.
Yeah, you see Goodpaster on pit road. There's Pat O'Brien. He's on pit road under repair. Liam Anderson, he is 3 laps down, but he has been on pit lane now for 4 minutes. So
the contact that he made with that outside wall, and of course, him being at the pinnacle part of the large caution, the big wreck, certainly he took the brunt of a lot of the damage.
He most certainly did. I do want to give a shout out to all the people that support the series: Archway Industrial Coatings, Admin Box, Blackmagic Studios, Trak Racer, Rogue Energy. Do want to thank all of them. Do want to thank all of our viewers. It has been an amazing, awesome, fantastic turnout for these 2 races here at Daytona for the American Motorsport Association. If you haven't already done so, make sure you hit the like button on the video, ring the bell to subscribe to the channel. Those 2 things will keep you apprised of all the iRacing action that P1 Broadcasting has to bring to you. And boy, Sam, do we have some iRacing action to bring you. We're going to start off. I'll kind of just read it out here. We are off tomorrow, so there'll be no race tomorrow on the channel. Gary will be doing the Velocity Online Racing IndyCar series, and that will be on their channel. That's a P1 crew that Julian employs, but it is on his channel, so that'll be tomorrow at 3 Eastern. On Sunday, Gary will, I can't talk. On the 19th, On Sunday, Gary is going to have the Classic IndyCar Series Winter Series. That's going to happen at 3 Eastern, and then we'll be back at 8 o'clock for the Votive IndyCar Oval Series round at Michigan. On Monday night, Kyle Clinworth and I will be in the booth for the IndyCar Open Series Top Split. That'll come from Iowa. And if you haven't seen an IndyCar run at Iowa, it's more or less the equivalent of trying to have a jet fighter run in a gymnasium. Those things are insane at that place. That's going to happen at 7 o'clock Eastern Standard, and that's going to be immediately followed by the ISRA Open Wheel Series from Michigan. We're going to have the IndyCar Oval Top Series Tuesday Top Split. That's at 7:15 Eastern on Tuesday. And then rounding out the Wednesday before we get back full circle to Sam and I on Thursday night, the Formula Indy Series, 7:30 Eastern here on Wednesday, the P1 Broadcasting Network. We have a ton of programming coming for you. It's all top quality action. We're going to watch this restart from the fans' perspective. The 36 of Gregorio Dorso is in the lead. Chad Winstead is second. Those are the front two. Row 2, Nolan Millas and Joao Guerrera. Andrew Miller and Winfield Dobruck, 5th and 6th.
Now we're starting to slowly see some other names that are creeping up here that haven't been in the top 10 for most of the night, like Keith Graham and Michael Kirk. But it's not surprising if that was their plan all along, to avoid things, to stay clean, to keep it untouched for the end of the race. And with the amount of laps that we have left, with 38 laps to go, it looks like it may be playing into that strategy.
You know, and do kind of want to go back here, get two guys that were involved in contact, really two cars that were involved in heavy contact just moments ago. That's the 28 Andy Dunwoody, the 78 of defending winner Kendall Paul. Those two cars spent significant time on the pit lane and under repair. And if you look at the TV panel on the back of the 78 Ford F-150, that was completely gone not more than 10 minutes ago. Two cars to the apron. Those lap cars getting out of the way. But the TV panel was completely ripped off of that machine. He's got it all fixed, Sam. So looks like Kendall Paul might be in decent shape, at least to get to the end here, with more or less a repaired pickup. I don't want to say it's fixed, but we'll call it repaired. How's that?
Is that duct tape or a Band-Aid? That's the question.
I don't know what it is, but it looks like it looks like the team down there on the 78 Blackmagic Studios Storm Chaser 78 truck did a pretty doggone good job, because he's able to kind of stay up with that pack. They got the 50.
Yeah, he's still within reach of the leaders here.
Yeah, they got the 50.
Jeffrey Goodpaster had received an EOL penalty right before the start, this last restart, and he has fallen off pace a little bit. So interested to know how much of the damage he was able to get fixed on his particular truck. And Jalen Story is also another truck that is lagging behind by quite a bit of racetrack as well.
Yeah, and just talking about Kendall Paul, we'll go back to focus on the lead, because this battle up here has raged on and on. It has not stopped, Sam. They have been 2x2x2 for more or less as long as we can remember. That's the Roar Esports 36. That's Gregorio Dorso. He's been up there the entire afternoon, or the entire evening. Joao Guerrera, he's in the plain white wrapper with the Crown Royal logo. He's being pushed. How about this by Andrew Miller? It wasn't so long ago. Andrew Miller was nose first into the pit wall. He's brought it back up.
Yeah, I think after that contact, I think Andrews just took a little more conservative approach at how he's wanting to race this particular portion of the event, and so it's working in his favor.
I'll tell you what, he is not laying off of Joao Guerrera's rear bumper. Every time I look at the back of that 59, the bow that is the rear bumper, that used to be a straight edge. It just keeps getting caved in more and more because the 40 is all over it, trying to push those two trucks to the front. I'll tell you something.
Starting to look more like a V than a U.
I'm going to tell you something else. Brian Sharp, he was backwards and in the fence not so long ago. He had lengthy repair to the 125. He's back up in 10th. Adam O'Brien also had a piece of some of that earlier action. Those two trucks have made it back up into the top 10. So good runs for them. And how about Paul Witt? He was crashed not so long ago. So those two back-to-back cautions gave a lot of drivers a chance to get their stuff fixed as completely as iRacing will make it. And I got to put it to you, as we look at some of the formerly rolling wounded, as we look at some of the former rolling wounded, iRacing will fix it to a point. Justin Osterman gets really loose off of turn number 4, pulls it down onto the apron. But if you've got a car like Sharp or Paul Witt or Adam O'Brien that's been in the wall, iRacing will tell you it's fixed, but it's not always really fixed, is it, Sam?
No, not necessarily. Just simply because you cannot. Sometimes you can't see with the visible eye exactly what repairs and the extent of what those repairs are. It will say that it's fixed and the truck is probably raceable, but deep into the sense of repairs, a repaired truck is still a repaired truck. So it could affect the aero in some capacity, just like Joao's rear deck. With that spoiler the way it is, it could affect minuscule the amount of run that he can get on straightaways. He may have more downforce in the corners, but the run on the straightaway may be affected. And so you're right, the damage may show fixed, but what is fixed? Because Joao may show that when he went into the pit that it's fixed and he has no more repairs, but clearly in the broadcast you'll see that spoiler and the tailgate is completely caved in.
You know, and something I kind of wanted to point out along those lines, if you look at it, if you're thinking about this, the way that I always look at it is there's repairable damage and there's unrepairable damage. And so with every car, there are things that the pit crew just simply cannot fix in the pit box. And I'll give you an example from the open wheel world. When you spin out an IndyCar in the series, if you hit the rear diffuser, the crew will not fix the diffuser. That cannot.
How about that?
That cannot be fixed on pit lane. And so if you damage that, your car will be damaged no matter what. It'll say it's fixed, and it'll say that we've got all over the place. Gregorio Dorso, I was reading the side of that car going down the side of that truck going down the straightaway. He gathers it back in, gets back in line, and shoves Chad Winstead a little bit further ahead. But that looked kind of gnarly coming down the back. But one of the most miserable experiences I ever had was in an Indy 500 where there was a lap 1, turn 1 accident. I got the lightest of touches in the rear diffuser, and because of that, I had to drive the remainder of the 500 miles with a car that Motec said was about 50 pounds light on rear downforce. And that was not a lot of fun.
I'm sure it wasn't. With no downforce, it's probably a ride of your life.
You know, it was okay by itself, but if that car in traffic, you just couldn't turn it. The back end was not a happy camper if you were in traffic, because you know the diffuser is what creates the downforce from the floor, and if you damage that and you lose the floor, boy, you're in for a rough night. So the point is that there is damage. They may show fixed, but there is damage that is not going to be repairable. You know, and to tie that all back, there's Andy Dunwoody. He's following. It appears to be Justin Osterman and brother Jeremy. Mm-hmm. You know, and I don't know if he and Kendale have anything, or if they're just sporting some of that hidden damage, and it's all they can do to just hang on to the back of this field.
Well, when you have teammates out there, they can work with you in that capacity, because you can actually utilize the teammate facet to say, hey, let me run in the rocking chair, which is in the middle. Let me run in the middle of our group here. Let's see how the truck performs. Or if you have an opportunity, let me see if the nose is clean. See if I can pull this line. Or let me ride in the back so that to see if I can hold on to the draft. there's some options if you're working with your teammates to see what the extent of repairs has done or not done.
Well, Andy Dunwoody, he's got one better than a teammate. He's got his brother right in front of him. So
Teammate, and well, that's the lifelong teammate.
yeah, that's you. If it's your brother, you really don't got a choice, do you, Sam? We'll go back to the front of this thing. Gregorio Dorso now holds the lead over Chad Winstead. Nolan Milnes and João Guerrera are in row 2. The 40 of Andrew Miller has recovered from his damage. He is 5th. How about Keith Graham? He's pulled the 09. We have not said one word about Keith Graham. That's the 3rd truck in line on the bottom. We have not said a word about the EPI performance truck. He's pulled it up to 6th.
Right. Actually, I mentioned he and Michael Kurt several laps ago because they were starting to creep their way up there and make their names known. That they want to be a part of this. They want to be here at the end. I think that if I'm right, yep, Jeffrey Goodpaster has actually gone back into the pits. Our second stage winner has gone back into the pits.
He most certainly has, and Goodpaster, he's been on pit lane now for longer than a stop, so it could be that there's just too much damage for him to be. Yeah, it's too extensive for him to be able to race effectively at the front of this thing, or even just stay in the draft, and that's a tough break because Jeffrey Goodpaster was riding a rocket ship. We are 74 laps complete of 100 here in the Archway Industrial Coatings 250 from Daytona for the AMA Truck Series. I do want to thank everybody that's out there watching. If you have not done so, please hit that like button on the video, smash the subscribe to the channel, ring the bell so that you can be notified of all future P1 broadcasting.
Well, we on the backstretch. Orso announced a pit stop, and the next thing you know, they are crashing. All the front pack outside of a couple of trucks is caught into this major incident.
Whoa, that was another one. I looked up and saw Chad Winstead. I was trying to sell
airborne. I
was trying to sell subscriptions. Chad Winstead goes up over. He sticks the landing. That's going to be João comes down, gets into the side of Winstead, turns the truck backwards. Over she goes. He's going to hit one on the roof. He's going to come back, landed on the wheels. He gets he's going to have contact from the 09, and then the field comes in. You see the 7 and the 25. You see the 7 of Dustin Ramsey. He goes spinning through the infield. Multiple trucks involved.
Orso had just announced that he was getting ready to make a pit stop, and then he makes this huge run towards Winstead, coming out of 2, and when he does, I don't know if he was just trying to eliminate making it big contact and wiggled just enough to come up to João, who was doing some side drafting, and it was just mayhem after that.
Yeah, we're riding on the right side of Gregorio Dorso right now. That'll tell you how close these trucks are moving down the backstretch here at Daytona. And there's the contact. You're going to see the rear wheels right there lift up on Chad Winstead. There's the contact between Dorso and João Guerrera, and from there the melee is on.
It's just so many trucks involved. Dorso clears it easily. Milnes almost clears it, but it looks as though yes, Keith Graham was trying to make his way through there and caught Milnes, and then they spun. Ah, heavens, a lot of fast trucks in this incident. Some receiving more extensive damage than others.
I'll tell you who did make it through. Looking back at this, that's the 28 of Dunwoody. Kendall Paul appears to have also made it through.
They've been running a very cautious race tonight.
Well,
Colby Pierce.
Yeah, Colby Pierce makes it through. So those guys avoided an incident for a change. And they're going to be well positioned here. Kendall Paul, David Dunwoody, Justin Osterman. Those trucks were not so long ago stuck in the mid-20s in the field. They're going to be
oh wow.
They're going to be pretty close to the top 10. Paul Witt snuck through that.
All we had, and Winfield Dobruck, I mean, they avoided catastrophe here. What a huge move by the 7 of Dustin Ramsey here as he's avoiding the wreck as well, but he gets rear-ended in the back. I thought he was almost going to clear it. Man, wow.
Let's go back and
Dorso had announced a pit stop, but I did not hear anyone else saying that they were going to be pitting with him. And just after his announcement, that was when he was closing on Winstead. So I wonder in the comms if he just lost track of how fast his closing speed was there. I don't know. It was just so much happening so quick.
Most certainly so, and give a shout out though. Paul Witt, he dodges the bullet, and one of the first cars, the car that was involved in the first contact of the night. That is the 40 of Andrew Miller. It's come full circle for him. He's gone back to the lead. He's gone back the lead of this baby. Pat O'Brien is gonna get. He's the one that's eligible for the waiver round here. So Pat O'Brien's gonna get one of his laps back. He's gonna go back to 5 laps down. Nolan Milnes is the final car on the lead lap. He is 22nd.
Was Goodpaster involved in the incident, or is he still on pit road?
Goodpaster is back on.
Goodpaster. I'm sorry.
Goodpaster. He is still on. He is back. I shouldn't say still on pit road. He is back on pit road. He is 2 laps down. However, I did not see him involved. But
right, that's why I was asking him. Only being 2 laps down, wouldn't he be the lucky dog recipient?
Well, I think the lucky dog might have been.
If he's on pit road or if he's involved in the incident, he will not receive that.
Well, I think I think he was the lucky dog, right? Because it shows him 3 laps on a current stint, and then it goes back to 0. So that means he would have pitted with the leaders initially, and then came back for further repair. That number 3 truck was pretty tore up, so it doesn't surprise me that he would come back down the pit lane and get the rest of his repairs finished up. But we're going to set the stage here for you. We're going to have 23 laps to go, coming back to get 23 to go. Andrew Miller, your leader. Paul Witt is 2nd. Andrew Bergen is 3rd. Ryan O'Donohue is 4th, and Jason Southern rounds out your top 5. Those are some names we have not seen very much of in the top 5. Dorso 6th, Adam O'Brien 7th, Brian Sharp is 8th. How about Colby Pearson 9th, and Winfield Dobruck going to be your top 10.
Man, boy, when they decide to go big, they go big. We're under green.
They most certainly do. And the green flag pops back out. Andrew Miller gets a great jump, and that's one of those. I kind of said it last night, Sam. That almost is too good.
When you decide to make that big jump in the Geico restart zone, especially at Supers, you can expect field is going to catch you, and it's going to be instrumental to see if you can hold that spot.
There it is. Here comes the speed shot.
And for the first time tonight, I believe Alan Bergen is going to be our leader.
There it is, the 89. He is leading the number 40. 32 of Jason Southern is going to 3rd. Paul Witt wants that 3rd spot. He's going to have some drafting help, I believe, from Adam O'Brien in the 87. Colby Pierce in the 42. He has all of the Black Magic trucks lined up behind him.
And now you see that the high side, there's a lot of trucks that are going to organize for that high side and work together. And that's going to put Bergen a little bit at a disadvantage because the lower line now has to reorganize.
Yeah, it does. And the other thing that you've got, the 87, the 42, the 125, they're all hooked together in that top line. You got Kendall Paul in the 78, Justin Osterman in the 53. Those trucks are all right together. Those are all team cars. And Andy Dunwoody in the 28th, he was up there, although Dunwoody has started to fall back a little bit. Wonder if he needs repair, or if he's just gone back to get his brother.
Well, all of our incidences, the large crashes that we've had tonight have all occurred with the front runners.
You know they have, and that's kind of an oddity. Usually you'll see that Usually
A
you'll,
mid pack or something. Yes.
yeah, when when trucks start moving around because of that arrow, that's where you'll normally see the action happen in the pack as far as accidents. It's very rare to see them. You see the 80, excuse me, the 32 adjacent Southern kind of glitch out there. How unnerving is that when you see that in the pack? But
Well, it was funny that you mentioned Jason Southern. If there are opponents to the lucky dog rule and don't want any, it will not be Jason Southern, because it was not but too long ago that he was the lucky dog recipient, if I'm not mistaken, and now here he is battling in the top 2 rows of the leaders.
100%. Now, one of the things I do want to point out is when we started this race, the air temperature was 9 degrees warmer. The track was 15 degrees hotter. It's now 69 degrees outside, 71 on the track. It is more humid, but the wind has completely died. Now just a 1 mile an hour breeze out of the northeast. And so the lights are on, the track is cool. What's that do other than make these guys a lot more racy?
Well, the grip doesn't change too incredibly much, considering how much of the race is in the dark. The biggest differences that you'll see, and there goes your friend Dunwoody, 3 wide through the tri-oval, getting in behind Paul Witt. But the biggest difference, oh, what a push! He has decided he is no longer going to wait.
Nope, he's going to make it 3 wide here. We're going to have contact.
Now he's into the back of Jason Southern, and now they're crashing.
Aggressive move from Andy Dunwoody, and the 3 is going to finish off Joao Guerrera. Hard contact for the 87 of Adam O'Brien in the outside wall. That all started with a push from Dunwoody. He's in the middle. The 32 can't quite decide which line he wants to be on. He was in the middle, and then he goes up to the top, and then he starts to come back down.
Well, that move to the top is part of the load of the truck. It washes on entry. It will wash toward the wall a little bit if you don't learn how to, or if you don't address the preload. That's that wash up that you see the truck do when on entry. And so it's not that he was moving as much as the truck was just that was the centrifugal force taking him there.
Gotcha. So what you're telling me is that is an involuntary movement. And poor Joao...
It's not unusual for a truck to do that.
Copy that. And poor Joao Guerrera, he thinks he hasn't missed. Off the wall comes the 3 of Jeffrey Goodpaster and smack into the side of Joao Guerrera. And so, tough break for Guerrera there. Goodpaster has had an eventful...
He's been up front all night long. He and Goodpaster have been up front most of the night.
And both of those trucks are going to need more repair. I don't know if the 3 pit has any more parts left to put back on that thing.
They'll have to go to the other team trucks to see if there might be some excess parts.
100%. So Andrew Miller, your leader. Alan Bergen second. Andy Dunwoody, David Dunwoody is third. Ryan O'Donohue fourth. Paul Witt is back to fifth. We see the fakesies from Andrew Miller. He is not going to come down pit road. I'll tell you who is going to come down pit road and had a piece of that was last night's second place finisher, Colby Pierce. He's going to bring the 42 forward. The Tasmanian Devil heads back in, and that's another one of those Earnhardt throwbacks. It is
from Richmond.
Yeah, it looks weird to see it on a Ford. For some reason, that commercial popped up in my Facebook feed not more than a couple of days ago. And it's always kind of funny to go back and watch some of those old promos and commercials. Dale Earnhardt Sr. driving around with a Tasmanian Devil in the car.
Right.
Wasn't there also one with him and Junior both in the car and they were arguing over something? If I remember right.
Oh heavens. I think you could be right, actually.
There were some great promos back in the early days of NASCAR for sure. Not early days, but in the late '90s, late '90s, early 2000s. Height of the Jeff Gordon, Dale Earnhardt Sr. rivalry, Junior just coming onto the scene. That was that was when you could reliably count on a NASCAR race filling up any racetrack of any capacity. And of course, now they've done Daytona Rising here. A lot of fans newer to the sport might not know. As you look down the backstretch here at Daytona, there used to be a massive grandstand right there.
Yes, sir.
And
I remember it well. My first Daytona 24 that I ever attended, we actually camped out. During that particular event, they were not even using those grandstands. It was barren. No one sat back there during the event, the whole 24 hours. But we had a travel camper that we parked under those bleachers at that time, and we actually camped out during the 24 hours of Daytona years ago. It was a massive grandstand for sure.
And not only that, they'd taken down the chicken bone grandstands too back there, if you remember those from way back in the day.
Can they really be called chicken bone? You want to know chicken bone, you had to be somewhere like Rockingham or or early Wilkesboro. You'd have to be a North Carolina fan.
To be fair, I had been to a race at Rockingham. I was at one of the last ones. I was at the one where Carl Long did his best stuntman impression down the backstretch. They get him out of the car. If you remember that, they get him out of the car. He shakes his head, and he didn't have a sponsor at the time. He gets out of the car and says, "If anybody wants me to put your logo in a highlight reel, give me a call." National television. And we drove back to our hotel in Charlotte, following the record that had that car on it. They hauled that thing out of there on a rollback. They couldn't even get it in their truck. So that was an interesting day for sure. Beautiful track, Rockingham.
Rockingham is a great facility. I'm thrilled that they're going back to Rockingham to run some races this year. I'm ecstatic that they're bringing that venue back. It is a great place to watch a race of any kind, and it's certainly great for the North Carolina economy on the eastern part of the state. So we're really excited to have that race back. It has been a rejuvenation for the foothills of North Carolina with North Wilkesboro coming back the way that it has. But Rockingham, I'm hoping that it has equally the same effect, because the racing there is very good, and there's not a bad seat in the house, actually.
No, there's not. One of the things that always amazed me is, as we get ready to go back to green here, 16 to go, is how close all of when you sit down and you think about it, how close together all of those facilities are. Wilkesboro, Rockingham, Charlotte, even Bristol. They're all within an easy. An easy drive.
You're talking about the birthplace of NASCAR racing. They tried to keep the tracks, the venues that they had closed. It wasn't as much of a national series as it was just born and bred in the South.
Yeah. Bring it back to this though. 15 to go. You've got Andrew Miller. He's leading Andy Dunwoody. You've got Paul Witt in third. Ryan O'Donohue is fourth. The front five make that Brian Sharp. Those front five have really kind of singled out here. The 36 of Gregorio Dorso is snuck back in the picture, but the front five single file. There is no real outside line to speak of. Brian Sharp trying to get it going. He's got support from the 11 and Nolan Milnes. And Chad Winstead, he was upside down.
He was completely airborne.
He was upside down. That 34 truck was on its lid 10 minutes ago. They've got the I said at the time, it didn't look like it was
hard to get damaged when all you're hitting is air.
Yeah. I'll also give our viewers at home a quick tip. The brakes do not work when the automobile is upside down.
Can't stop the car. Yeah, absolutely.
They don't work when it's upside down. But he really didn't hit anything hard. He just kind of glanced off the roof.
No, he didn't.
He just kind of glanced off the roof a little bit. He brought that baby to pit road. He spent a minute.
And clearly, he thinks that the truck has some promise, because he's pulling that top line. Whip pulls up in front of him, and now this top line is organized as they're pulling up on Andrew Miller for the lead.
100% they are. One of the things we haven't done is talk to the drivers, but that's simply because we've had way too much to talk about ourselves. We haven't had a chance. And
Well,
so
let's look at it now. Let's look very carefully here because last year's truck winner at Daytona, Kendall Paul, has now made his presence known at the front of this pack.
he most certainly has, and he's got some help from Brian Sharp in the admin box machine behind him. We talked about it last night. We talked about it last night. Whoa, we got trouble.
Oh,
Brian
there's
Sharp's
a wreck.
around.
Oh, Brian Sharp is out of shape. Caution is out.
Hard accident. Colby Pierce hard into the wall. He writes off the number 42 truck. Hard impact for him, but that all started with Brian Sharp.
Milnes decided that he was going to try and squeeze into the middle there, and it just did. The room ran out. It just was not enough room for him to make that move, and he gets into the right rear of Brian Sharp. Or the left rear.
He most certainly does. There you see it, the 11 and the 125.
Big contact by Sharp. Big contact. Joao Guerrera again caught up into the melee here late in the race as we're approaching 10 laps to go.
I don't know who hit harder, Brian Sharp or Colby Pierce. Both of those trucks had huge impacts, but there it is. Milnes goes the inside of Sharp, maybe a little bit of net code. He gets a piece of Guerrera that wasn't Guerrera. That was Dorso. He gets a piece and then hard into the wall, upside down. And watch Colby Pierce come through here. He's on the bottom. They're all wrecking and spinning, and he gets hit and shot up the track and hard for last night's second place finisher, Colby Pierce. You do see Joao Guerrera there in the background. He's involved as well, the 53.
All five of those trucks, or four of those trucks, are just glued together as they fight the apron, and then Colby is completely along for the ride. Nothing he can do.
No, you're just, it's almost like you're shot.
Yeah, it's just hand off the wheel at this point. You're just hands off the wheel.
Yeah, and in the case of guys that use direct drives and things of that nature, it is hands off the wheel. That's something that a lot of people don't realize. We you do this, especially if you use high-end direct drive equipment, the DD2 Fanatec's, the 24 nanometer Moses, you can get hurt. The wheels whip around violently when you hit stuff. So,
yes, sir. I've actually been in an official race. We were in an official race at Pocono, and in the Cup cars. And during the race, there was a major accident going into turn one. And then in the public comms, we just heard maniacal screaming. And we did not know. We thought someone was just mad. But someone had an open mic. And what had happened is that in his articulating rig, he hit with such force, the wheel turned and broke his hand.
Yeah, I mean,
on contact.
I've not broken my entire hand. I've sprained my wrist. My dad
He was screaming. It was. I don't remember the gentleman's name, but people were like, "Dude, quit screaming in the mic." And then he just started, "Yeah, I broke my hand. I broke my hand."
Yeah, you can definitely do that here. Do want to thank everybody for tuning this in. We are going to, while we are under caution, let's bring up Andy Dunwoody. Let's talk to him real quick.
If I can find Andy.
I got him.
Okay.
Andy Dunwoody, you've got Mark Murphy, Sam Crow in the P1 broadcasting booth. I know you got one to green. Kind of talk us through what you're thinking about here for this 10-lap shootout to decide the Archway Industrial Coatings Daytona 250.
I'm thinking I got one more joker up my sleeve with that 34 and the 78 right here next to me.
Very good. So, are you how long do you wait here? Do you go early or are you going to wait?
Well, we got our buddy Paul waiting in front of us. We're just gonna get to his bumper on this restart and just start pushing, and we'll see when the 34 and the 78 can get hooked up, and maybe we'll go all together.
Good deal. Well, that's Andy Dunwoody. He is currently the third place automobile on the racetrack. He's going to be lined up right there, the Blackmagic P1 broadcasting machine. Andy, we'll put you back with your team. Good luck, my friend. Keep her straight. Keep the pointy side facing forward. Keep the rubber shiny side up. Pointing in, pointing forward. Keep the rubber part on the road. All right, buddy?
Yep. Never know.
All right, that's Andy Dunwoody, your third place runner, and it's always fun to talk to the drivers during the race a little bit. You don't want to do it while we're under green, of course, Sam, but you can definitely do it under yellow. And always interested to keep always interesting to keep those guys, kind of pick their brains, see what they're thinking.
Oh yeah, no, I encourage it absolutely.
So we're going to get the green.
It sounds like that they have a plan. They're all going to try and work together here. And you almost, when you hear a driver talk like that, it almost makes you have a little bit of sympathy for drivers like Andrew Miller, who may feel like that he's all alone, that he may not get a fair shake. And so it certainly gets the feels going a little bit about drivers that may or may not have that kind of team help on the track. So Andrew does have the advantage, though, of being in the outside lane up front, and so he can dictate a lot of things that are going to go on behind him. It just depends on which line gets organized and how quickly that they can make their decisions. You can see Dunwoody and Witt immediately take off on the start, and now Miller takes it to the bottom. He finds his opening. But if you listen to Dunwoody during that interview, the 34 and the 78 are going to work together, and they're going to try and get that outside line as well. And then we'll see how this pans out here at the end.
Andrew Miller does have teammates in this race, but he doesn't have any. He doesn't have any of them around him.
Up front.
Yeah, we also want to point out that the car of Ryan O'Donohue, it shows 31 on the side of the car. It is number 14 on the scoring pylon. Dunwoody and Paul Witt are not teammates. However, this is one of those situations where you might dance with the devil that you know. Andrew Miller is...
Well, they're familiar with each other, though. It's clear that they're familiar with each other.
100%. I mean, those guys race together three nights a week, and so they're extremely familiar with one another, as is Chad Winstead, Kendall Paul. Andrew Miller, one of the newer guys to the series. Ryan O'Donohue, similarly newer. And so it's not that they're bad drivers, it's just that they're unknown quantities. And when you're trying to get a win at Daytona, like I said, you're going to dance with the devil you know rather than the one you don't. Andy Dunwoody hard in the back of Paul Witt. He's pushing the 29 for all it's worth. This is the battle for the lead, and this is where we're going to keep it, barring any sort of late race shenanigans. Just because we want to bring you Who
wants to miss it? No one wants to miss this. Nobody.
Speaking of nobody wanting to miss it, I just got word from P1 Broadcasting Chief Gary Godso that right now, as it stands at this moment, this race has more people watching it than the Race Spot simulcast of the top split official iRacing Daytona 500.
Wow.
That is
impressive. That's nothing. That news is nothing without the people that are watching. So we can't thank you enough for tuning in.
Yeah, and definitely do want to thank all the viewers. Jeffrey Goodpacer typed in the chat he had too much damage to keep on going. And didn't want to cause any problems or embarrass himself. Jeffrey, you won 2 stages. I don't think you have anything to be ashamed of. We do appreciate.
Don't hang your head, Jeffrey. You were running an amazing race tonight. The cards just did not fall in your favor, but don't hold your head high. You did a fantastic job.
100%. We will see Jeffrey Goodpacer next week. We do thank him for his compliments on the broadcast. We've got 6 to go. The front 2, you've got Miller on the high side. He's being pushed by Chad Winstead and Kendall Paul. You've also got Nolan Milnes up there. The bottom line, Paul Witt, Andy Dunwoody, Ryan O'Donohue, and the 36 of Gregorio Dorso, who has been extremely fast all night. I do want to point out that I want to know where he hides the horseshoe. Dorso has been able to. He and Miller have missed so many of these incidents tonight to be able to run, be up front at this particular junction of the race. There has to be a horseshoe or a rabbit's foot involved somewhere. Speaking of horseshoes and rabbit's feet, if you look at the bottom of your screen, there's a purple Ford F-150 with green accents. That is Andy Dunwoody's brother, Jeremy. And so if Jeremy can get up there and help his brother, he's absolutely going to do it. Andy is third now. At this particular juncture of the race, you're going to push. If you're Dunwoody,
all bets are off as far as water temp are concerned.
Yeah, and
You're
that's
going to push as hard as you can push because you can finish this race without blowing the motor. And so I did notice just a lap or so ago, he backed off enough to allow the radiator to breathe a little bit more, but it's getting into that window where he can push for a few laps, and it doesn't matter. He will push as hard as he can push. So it's going to be interesting to see how tight these trucks get coming to the finish line.
You know, I was just about to ask you that question, Sam. How long can you push? I was never one that did push. I have accepted pushes that I would rather not have, but I've never been in this.
Dunwoody's putting on a clinic here,
Yeah.
because what he's doing is he's timing the contact in just the appropriate places, and he is following closely in the other places, because you don't want to make contact the whole time. If you tandem is important here,
But you don't want to. You can't do it all the way around.
Constant contact, not constant contact.
Yeah, you can't do it all the time,
If
especially
you do that, you want to do it coming off the corner of 4 or 2, or on entry into 3. Those are the places. Those are the key places. And there comes Jeremy Dunwoody on the outside.
Whoa,
and he makes contact with Milnes. Milnes saves it and puts it on the apron.
What a save by
what a save!
Yeah, what a save by Nolan Milnes. But he got hip checked out of the way by by Jeremy Dunwoody. We're going to keep it at the front because that's where the battle is. Andy Dunwoody, the boss man at Black Magic, he lays off in the corners. He's going to let Paul Witt set that truck up, and he's going to give him a shot down the backstretch. I'm surprised that we're not seeing that same V shape on the back of the 29, because Dunwoody is absolutely wearing it out. He's got Andrew Miller, and we know that Miller has had a fast truck. We also know that Miller's been involved in contact. Pretty much everybody that's in this field has had a scratch at some point.
Like they all have some kind of
they've all got something compromised
in this race.
Yeah, they've all got some sort of a compromise as we come to go. Heck, the 34, he's going to make a bid for third. He was upside down less than 20 laps ago.
Well, apparently the wheels are still round on the.
The wheels are still straight. They're still going. We're going to come get the white flag if they can make it to. If they can make it back to the line, we'll get the white flag. It'll be 1 lap to go, and the next flag will end the race. Still clean and green through 3 and 4. Those are the remaining.
Big push from Dunwoody here. Big push from Dunwoody. Miller gets a little out of shape as Chad Winstead still tries to stay on the back of that truck, coming down through the tri-oval.
White flag is in the air here in the Archway Industrial Coatings 250
Here's
from
the
Daytona.
Last run from the outside line. Witt goes to block the momentum that they have. Miller doesn't care. He gives them a big shot coming out of 2.
Dunwoody and Paul Witt are going to drag race down the backstretch for a win at Daytona. Meanwhile, trucks are fanning out behind himself. We got one upside down, one going through the grass.
Oh, another one through the grass. Their leaders are wrecking. 53.
Dunwoody wrecking.
Osterman.
Now we've got a match race between Kendall Paul and Justin Osterman coming back to the flag. Trucks are everywhere.
They are door to door coming to the line.
It's going to be Justin Osterman. He's going to take the win.
Justin Osterman's going to win.
Justin Osterman takes the win from Kendall Paul. Gregorio Dorso is going to limp it home third. Jeremy Dunwoody fourth. Nolan Milnes survives the absolute chaos at the end of this thing, and he's going to come home fifth. You've got to feel bad for Paul Witt, Andy Dunwoody. Those 2 trucks, my goodness. The fireworks go off at Daytona, and we certainly had the fireworks.
Woo. Man,
they're going to have to get us some. They're going to have to get us some Rolaids, Sam.
Rolaids or defibrillators. One of the 2. There was so much going on that last lap. Witt went to the high side to block that big run that the high line had. Then Kendall comes tearing through the middle. That left Dunwoody with no one. Cars flying into the inside. The hole closed on Kendall. The leaders all got caught up in that. And Osterman just masterfully missed every bit of it.
It's like driving through a minefield for Justin Osterman, and he's going to come home with the win over Kendall Paul. Gregorio Dorso Pedro Blebel in the chat. Go Dorso. Go Dorso indeed. He's going to bring it home third for the bottom step of the podium. Jeremy Dunwoody is fourth. Nolan Milnes is going to round out your top five. Chad Winstead is going to be sixth. Andrew Miller is seventh. Ken Holland is eighth. Tyler Smith ninth. And David Dunwoody, Andy Dunwoody, our good friend, he is going to bring it home 10th. In 11th, Jao Guerrera. Winfield Dobrik Jr. is going to be 12th. Ted Craven 13th. Paul Witt 14th. After having the lead going down the backstretch, Ryan Donahue is going to be classified 15th. Keith Graham is 16th. Pat O'Brien 17th. Liam Anderson 18th. Dustin Ramsey 19th. Jalen Story is going to round out your top 20. In 21st, you've got Michael Kirk, Alan Bergen 22nd. Colby Pierce, after a great run last night, disappointed with 23rd. Brian Sharp never really got a chance to come back up. Never got a chance to finish here at Daytona. He's going to be 24th. Jeffrey Goodpaster won 2 stages, caught up in a third stage accident. He is 25th. Adam O'Brien 26th. Jason Southern 27th. John Hutchins 28th. Chad Dulaban 29th. And Sean Mott is 30th. 31st on the run, Donald Green. Todd Stacy 32nd. Colt Curry is going to be classified 33rd. Harley Day 34th. The broadcast team does not score points here at Daytona.
Incredible finish. Definitely catching the attention of all those who attended tonight to watch the race. And Justin Osterman pulls off the sneak attack of the race here late amongst all the chaos that was coming into 3.
You know, certainly did. And man, I gotta before we go to the interview room, I feel like I need to catch my breath.
Oh,
my
there's
goodness.
definitely been some excitement. I don't know the last time that I've watched a Daytona event and saw so many of the incidences happening up front as often as they did tonight. It's interesting to look at that dynamic of the event to find that was the trend. I know there was a lot of talk among the drivers about the late race push by Kendall Paul there coming through the middle, and some of the drivers were discussing, what they're, if woulda, coulda, shouldas, but that's just usually how this race plays out coming to the end of the race in that last lap. Is it just there are so many variables that you can count on and other variables that you can't.
You know, you're absolutely right. I looked for Gregorio Dorso in the Discord. He is not there. He started second. He led many laps here at Daytona night. He's going to come home third. We do want to give a.
He's in the waiting room.
He is in the waiting room. I'll tell you what.
Yes.
I did not see him. Let's go ahead and grab Gregorio Dorso. Gregorio, you've got Mark Murphy and Sam Crow in the P1 broadcasting booth. You got a copy, sir?
Yes, I copy.
Hey, I tell you what. You might be a rookie in this series, but I'd be willing to bet that you've driven a truck before. The Roar Esports car looked extremely quick. You had some fans in the chat that were cheering you on. Tell us about your night. You started up front, you finished there, and I think you were everywhere in between at some point during the run.
Yes, after all, thank you for the organization and thank you for Alan supporting me. The race is very crazy. It's my first tournament in the oval. I am the chief of Roar Esports, but never running in the tournament. This time is my first time, and well, the race is incredible. Sorry for the last contact. I don't know if it's my fault or not. And sorry for my bad English. I am for Argentina, and this is difficult to speak for me.
No, you sound great, my friend.
Yeah, you're doing great.
Yeah, you're doing great. Thank you so much for joining us, Sam. Do you have anything for the third place runner this evening?
Gregorio, I know we were talking about a lot of the front runners. There were so many incidences at the front of the pack, and I just wanted to get your thoughts about how racy it was up in that top 6 and top 8 among the leaders. Was it getting as dicey as it looked from your driver's seat?
For the last maneuver, for the last lap, you say? Sorry for my bad understand. The in the race have three moments. The first moment is the car in the high line touch me and no clear, and it's it's not bad for him, but I don't nothing for him. But the last lap is amazing. I stay in the P10, P9, P10. I am touched with the car 31, maybe, for the move in the line. And with the cars exploding in front of me, what happened? When passing, I am passing for the long line. I touch me. I never see why when touch me, and the car is put a little bit loose, and I can. And in this moment, I say, I can. I pass. Close the edge and I pass.
You did a fantastic job tonight, bringing the truck into the third place. It was clear that you had a fast vehicle, simply because you were up front most of the event.
Yeah, you led 8 laps. Yeah, you led 8 laps, Gregorio, and put on a great driving display. Want to thank you for joining the field here. You have any friends, family, sponsors, anybody you'd like to give a shout out to, my man? The floor is yours. The tradition here at P1, if you finish on the podium, you get to talk. So if there's anybody out there you want to thank, the floor is yours.
Oh, thank you. And the first regards for thank you for the organization and all. And the next step, thank you for all the support of the drivers of Rally Sports. And Reaper Setups is our sponsor, and to VT-Set simulators. It's a cockpit simulators fabrication. No more. Thank you for all. Today is my birthday.
Well, happy birthday!
Yes, thank you. Here I am here. Thank you for all.
No, thank you for coming, and thank you so much for entertaining everybody on Valentine's Day. We had a ton of people watching, and I'm sure they all appreciated your efforts tonight. Gregorio Dorso, he's going to come home third tonight at Daytona. We're going to go ahead and put him back in the waiting room. Sam, give me a chance, and we'll get Justin Osterman queued up. I bet Justin has something to say here, or no. Kendall Paul, we'll get.
Yeah, you'll need to talk to Kendall. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll need to talk to. Well, do we have to? Right.
Well, yes. I mean, the P1 broadcasting promise that if you finish on the podium, you get to talk.
I know, but Kendall likes to talk even more than I do. So let's go ahead and get Kendall Paul in here. Kendall Paul, you got Mark Murphy, Sam Crow in the P1 broadcasting booth. You wound up in a match race with Osterman there. Kind of run through what you were thinking on that last lap. I think we wrecked 15 trucks from the time we got the white flag to the time we got the checker. But you and Osterman were the last two standing. Kind of talk to me about your thought process coming back to get the flag and what you thought needed to happen for you to win, and how you think he got you there.
The win. Daytona last lap's always unpredictable. I was trying to work there with Chad. Chad's a teammate with Dark Horse Performance as well. So I was working with him, trying to work with him, and he was trying to get around that 40 there to get us broke out. He was getting super hot, and Osterman was right there behind me. We got the run off of turn 2, and we had a massive run off turn 2, and really didn't know where to put it. Paul Witt comes down to block it, which fair game. Tried to go up to that middle lane right there. It didn't work because I kind of got tapped by Osterman, which there's nothing he could have done. It's all Daytona at the end. I feel really bad for getting Paul Witt into that wreck, but it's all Daytona last lap, and it was a drag race between me and Archman teammates. We bumping doors and everything. That was really fun, and just looked it up. It's the closest finish in Daytona history for the Truck Series, so I'd have that split between two teammates. That's really, really awesome.
Most certainly is. Sam, what say you for Kendall Paul this evening?
Dale, we were pointing out early in the event that there were a lot of what we were seeing is that your team had decided to take a little more conservative approach to the race, and apparently it was working flawlessly. Simply for you guys to be running there at the end. Could you just run us through your mindset, what you were trying to accomplish through that waiting period?
Yeah. Start off, we didn't have a very good qualifying effort there, P14, and that's really where a lot of the guys were in the same boat. So the only way you're getting through double file is 3 wide, and they were starting to look a little squirrely and everything. And you can't win the race in stage 1 or anything, and that's the big thing. I wanted to finish this race after what happened last night on lap 20, and that was a big mindset there, and being patient and everything. And we knew that we had both bases covered. If a caution came out where we were good on green, we had the numbers to kind of get around the track, and hopefully one of us would be up there in the top 3. And then if it stayed green, we had the numbers to be our own little pack. How I won this race last year was on that green flag stop, and that's what I kept preaching to the guys was it's all about that green flag stop and how well we get in and get out. If that was to be now. With this scenario, it was free for all. Everybody's putting the poker chips in on the final lap, and a lot of chaos. But that's kind of what the mindset was all night tonight.
Well, I tell you what, you survived the chaos. You had a bit of everything tonight. You started in the middle. You got up to
a little bit of everything.
You got up to the front. You didn't actually lead a lap, but you were as low as 29th in a 33 car field, and so. I'm gonna say 2 things, and I'll let you get out. I'll let you get out and get your shout outs and go celebrate with the team. But the first is that as the series director, how you had 2 huge fields for both the Grand National race and the truck race. Both were quality races. Viewership is out of the park. Talk to us about how that makes you feel as the series director.
It means a lot because people don't realize, and I really didn't realize when I started a league back 3 years ago, and really 4 years ago when I started trying to run a sprint car league, you don't realize how much work is put into these things. And to finally starting to see it pay off, last year acquiring Archway Industrials as a premier sponsor was a major milestone. Right before the season started, we hit 1,000 followers on Facebook. Now the broadcast is soaring out of the skies. We're getting great car numbers. And I believe we got a good group of guys this year. I don't have that weird feeling like I did that first season, the second season with a few people or whatever. But this year I feel very great. And that's props to the staff team as well, helping me out and everything. Getting everything set, ready to go for this season. And it's a very rewarding feeling, but also there's a lot of hard work and a lot of dedication involved with this.
And I know you do the hard work, and I know you're dedicated to it, Kendall. And I wanted to congratulate you for a truthfully, unbelievably amazing opening weekend for your series. Friends, family, sponsors, anybody you'd like to shout out to? You finished in the middle step of the podium. It's your turn to talk, my man.
Yeah, well, we got to thank all the sponsors: Archway Industrial Coatings, Black Magic Studios, Admin Box, Storm Tracker 78, No Pass Media, newly acquired Weather Stack for me personally, Rogue Energy Trak Racer, all those guys that chip in some way, somehow, either on the truck or in the car for the team or for the league. Can't thank them enough. Gotta thank the whole team of Dark Horse Performance. There is too many to go through all those guys now. So
I think you got more teammates than I do at this point.
It's crazy, but we'll love them all and everything. And gotta thank them all. Gotta thank the family and everything for letting me do this and taking time out of our busy schedules and everything to do this, and their understanding on this. I couldn't do it without them. And I wanted to say this. I wanted to shout out the 36 there again in third. just hearing the emotion from him in the waiting room, that means a really lot to a league owner when somebody's that emotional to get third in your own league. And it was his birthday, so shout out to him, congratulations to him, and congratulations on Osherman for his first win. I know he's been working really hard this year, getting that first win, and having Storm Tracker 78 on the truck to get the win, that's pretty awesome as well. So congratulations to him. I'm glad it was a photo finish for the broadcast. Glad it was a photo finish between teammates. Hopefully we put on a great show, and we'll move on to Atlanta.
You know, you most certainly did, Kendall. Thank you so much for joining us in the booth. I'll let you get back to celebrating with the team, but keep going fast and having fun. You hear?
Yes,
Great job tonight, Kendall.
Thank you, Sam. Thank you, everyone at P1. Thanks, Gary, and we'll see you next week.
Looking forward to it.
Yes, sir. Kendall Paul. He's going to run second today, and we're going to get tonight's winner, Justin Osterman, up here. Justin, Mark Murphy, Sam Crow in the P1 broadcasting booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir. I got you.
I'll tell you what, my friends. You're now a winner at Daytona. Talk to us a little bit. We got Kendall Paul's perspective on it. We heard Andy Dunwoody's plans before everything went down. Kind of talk us through your perspective and what it took to win what is now the closest AMA event at Daytona.
Yeah, I was literally just riding behind Kendall that last couple laps, and then I know it was whoever went high in front of Kendall, and I was like, well, Kendall, if we're gonna go, now it's time to go. I was like, I'm here for the push. And he split, and luckily it just worked. I just got a face full of his bumper and just latched. We went through, and then I saw things get dicey. Then I just went low, made sure I gave him room to make sure we cleared everything, and then we came out up front. So I'm so emotional. Like, I really don't even know what to say right now. It's so crazy. I did not expect that to work the way that it did, and it did. It's insane. It's Daytona. It's Daytona doing Daytona things.
Yeah,
so,
if you look up at the broadcast, you're gonna be able to see in 1/4 time you and Kendall beating doors from turn 3 all the way to the start finish line. So that's gonna be a cool souvenir to have. Speaking of cool souvenirs, you get to talk to one of the coolest guys in all of iRacing, Sam Crow. Sam, what have you got for our winner?
Justin, congratulations, man! I'm just telling you, it's exciting to see someone that methodically. You didn't necessarily run up front in the top 6 like a lot of drivers did tonight, but you methodically went with your team. You took your time. You made sure that your moves were precise. I have went back and watched your last 2 laps on repeat now since the race has been over. You did a masterful job at doing exactly what you said that you were going to do. You stuck with Kendall, and you decided that this is where I'm going to be, and this is what I'm going to do. But the only thing that I'd like to ask you about, and a lot of people don't take it into consideration, as that last moment, right as you're entering into turn 3, Kendall is forced to make a decision based on where Paul Witt is going to move. Well, you can't see what's happening. Can you, at that last second, as Kendall makes his move, and then there's contact, then you have to make your move. I'm interested to know what exactly was going through your mind at that particular moment.
Miss. Just miss. I just saw the trucks race a little bit, and I saw a little smoke, and I was just save the truck, bring it home, just do what we could, finish, because I've been knocked out last lap too many times in these things, and I wanted to finish one bad. So
did you realize that Kendall had cleared the wreck as well and was right on? Were you still outside?
I was hoping that I swung and gave him enough room, because I was like, I mean, we've got 2 teammates right here this close. I was like, let's see what we can do, get everybody through, and luckily we did. I went apron for a second or 2, I think it was, and came back up. I was just trying to do everything I could to miss Kendall and make sure he had room to come over and get at least 2 or 3 of these trucks out of it clean. But it was, I didn't exactly expect it to play the way it was. I knew I'm pushing, latching on. I didn't know we were gonna break out in a last little wreck like that. I figured it might be a drag race and I can push him to a win, but I didn't see it breaking out like it did at all. I'm so glad I went the way I did.
Well,
congratulations, my friend. You are our Archway Industrial Truck Series Daytona 250 winner.
He is.
Yes,
and you know how many laps you led there, Justin?
0, I think.
The last one.
Yeah, you led
One.
You led one. You led one. You led the one that pays the money. And so
The money lap.
Since you led the money lap, you get to shout out friends, family, sponsors. That is the tradition here at P1. You win the race, you get to talk, my friend. Have at it.
I want to shout out, first of all, Black Magic for everything they've done working with me, and Storm Tracker and all of them, and Archway Industrial Coatings for the league too. Because I mean, without them and Kendall, without him supporting on everything, this would not exist. We would not be here. We wouldn't have y'all broadcasting. So huge shout out to them, man. They do so much for us, and I want to do my part in giving back, and just this is. Then I want to thank my girlfriend too. One thing, because she's been by my side. By my side through
Valentine's Day,
year, man. That too, yeah. So
take the trophy to her. Say Happy Valentine's.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So, I mean, just everybody in the league that puts it on too, and Dunwoody, all the things that he's done for me too, man. It's just so many great people in this league, and all my teammates, everybody on Dark Horse is just, we're like a brotherhood going on, man. It's a real family, and I love it here, and I love everybody in the league, and everything y'all do too up in the booth for us, man. It's been fantastic. Only 2 races so far, but y'all are killing it. I love rewatching the replays. I think I've done it twice now of our Xfinity race, so y'all are fantastic. I want to thank y'all so much.
We appreciate it.
We're just the fans that get to watch it.
Yeah, that's right.
Right.
I'm the fan that gets to talk about it. I'll tell you what, you and I need to get together, because I think there might be a seat in a slightly used Cadillac that you might need to.
I would absolutely love a shot in that one.
We'll have to dig the grass out of the radiators, but beyond that, Justin, thank you so much for stopping by. We'll get you back. We'll get you back to the team and let you celebrate, my friend. You keep going fast.
Yes, sir.
You keep going fast and having fun. You hear?
Yes, sir. And thank y'all for
a fantastic job
staying with us, man. Yes, sir. Thank you. I'm glad we do a good enough job that people want to watch. So we'll keep on going this year.
For certain.
It's only going to keep getting better from here.
Heck yeah. So that's Justin Osterman.
What we hope.
That's Justin Osterman. He is the winner tonight from Daytona. Sam, I'm out of breath, man.
Mark, I'm right there with you. That was absolutely the probably a cover to cover example of what a race it would typically be like here at Daytona.
It most certainly was, and for me, I think I think we had LGN in the chat telling us how to spell Rolaids, and I think we're going to need it. I do want to thank every.
Who did that? I didn't know who was doing that.
It's got to be. It's either LGN or Gary, one of the two. But I do want to thank everybody that tuned it in. We had another massive turnout here for the American Motorsport Association, for the Archway Industrial Coatings Daytona 250. For everybody that's watching, if you haven't done so, ring the bell to subscribe to the channel so that you get notified of all of the great iRacing action that is going to occur on the P1 Broadcasting Network. And we've got a full slate upcoming. Not tomorrow, because Gary will be off calling the VOR race. So if you want to check out Velocity Online Racing, that is a sister channel to ours, and they're going to have an IndyCar race at 3 o'clock from Iowa. I will attempt to keep my car's shiny side up in that one. Sunday, Gary will be here for the Classic IndyCar Series. We're also going to have top split races Monday and Tuesday on the channel. Beyond that, you're going to see the ISRA IndyCar Series. That is going to take place Monday night. That's the nightcap. And then on Wednesday, Gary is going to be in the booth for the Formula Indy Series and that'll bring us back to Thursday. Sam and I are going to be in the booth for the next 11 weeks on the channel. Not 11 straight weeks. We're going to have February 28th and March the 7th off in this series. Next up for the Truck Series, February 21st, the Trak Racer 208 from Atlanta. It is off February the 28th and March the 7th, so Sam and I get to take a break and rest our voices. March the 14th, the High Stakes 200 from Las Vegas. The 21st of March, Florida Sunshine 200 from Homestead, Miami. And then, March 28th, and this is a reference that Sam will appreciate, the Norfolk Southern 200 from Martinsville.
Won't I?
The train tracks that run right behind the backstretch, right?
No, you know, you tell the audience that we need to rest our voice, but actually I've already made an appointment on my phone with my cardiologist, so I think that would probably come first.
Cardiologist, gastroenterologist, we're going to need it all, fans. But seriously though, thank you so much for tuning into the AMA opening weekend, and we so very much appreciate that and all of your support. For Gary Godso, Sam Crow, Mark Murphy, here with you on the P1 Broadcasting Network, we would love to thank all of the first responders. So the police, firemen, the EMTs, the military, all of the people that do the hard work at night so that we can lay our heads down on the pillow
grateful.
And sleep safe. We are grateful, Sam. We thank you. And until next time,
loosen those belts.
Keep
it's
going
time to get out of the car.
Keep going fast and having fun, my friends.